Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Okay, this is The Late Show with Andre Walker and Asher Gould, and I have just bitten into a refresher.
Oh, no.
Okay.
What can happen?
Do you know what I'm going to do? I don't want to start with Valentine's cards for illegal migrants, because I want to start on this whole, is Britain a colony for Pakistan or indeed any of the other countries where people have come from? Now, Jacob Rees-Mogg today, I noticed, looked up the definition of a colony, and he said it is a body of people that have moved from the motherland to a new place, that stay as a community, that maintain their cultural norms, and critically, in order to be rather than a settlement rather than a colony, have to maintain their links with the country back home. And he says that if you voted for an MP for Gaza, and you are in a closed Muslim community, that means you are a colony, because your interest is the wider Islamic world, not the United Kingdom.
You're subverting the culture that you've come to and replacing it with your own. That's colonisation.
And I would say ethnic voting is that. Anyway, Charles Amos is a writer for Conservative Home. I appreciate we didn't mention we were going to talk to you about this in advance, but we always broadside you. Your thoughts on whether Britain is a colony or not?
I think, strictly speaking, you could say Britain has been colonised, yes.
Yeah.
I don't think that has any moral content to it, per se. Is it helpful language? I don't know. It depends what purpose you have. If you sort of...
Or to get it decolonised.
To get it decolonised?
Yeah.
Well, it's certainly going to sort of zhush up reform voters, and if that was Jim Ratcliffe's purpose, then it's succeeded in doing that.
Well, he's told the truth, so it's got, finally people are actually seeing it.
He's told the truth, but then rode back on it.
It's
just ridiculous.
See, you're a libertarian. I'll tell you what my immigration policy would be. Here's my immigration policy.
Yeah.
If you're a net contributor, I'm all right with it, but I wouldn't give you citizenship, which is basically the situation in Switzerland. You can go along, as long as you pay your taxes, you're all right. As long as you contribute to the country, you're all right. But we don't want you taking benefits. And actually, when you're no longer of any use, you should go back to your country of origin. What's your view on that?
Well, I don't believe in the whole concept of citizenship in the first best world.
Okay.
But in the second best world, I don't think we should be granting citizenship to those individuals who are net takers from the state, because they're more likely to vote for redistributive policies that are going to make the productive class of people worse off.
Because what has happened with the Treasury is that they have basically come up with this stupid thing where they go, OK, so now it's really hard to work out whether somebody's a net contributor or a net recipient, because it depends on age, it depends on marital status, whether you've got kids and all this sort of thing. But I think it was reasonable to say that if you're not going to bring in 40 grand a year and you live in London, in all likelihood, if you're 25, you're probally going to be a net,
it's in your tax records,
recipient.
isn't it?
Well, absolutely. I mean, the average Briton is a net recipient from the state.
Yes.
So if you just assume that immigrants are the same as the average Briton, then they're going to be net recipients too.
But what has happened with the Treasury is this: they go, well, bringing this person in has grown the economy by 20 grand. Yeah, OK, one more person employed at 20 grand has but we've all become poorer because they're net recipients from the taxpayer. So what's happening?
Well, that's why we should welcome illegal immigrants, because they don't claim benefits.
It's true,
in the same way that the legal ones do.
Yeah, that's true. So we have over 700,000 every year adding on to our NHS list who haven't contributed to the system every year.
Yeah, that is the case. I don't think that's reason to oppose open-door immigration.
Why not? It's pretty good, isn't it? I mean, 750,000 a year.
Well, if you're going to accept the logic that you can exclude people from the country because they're net takers from the state, then you're going to do a lot of birth control of poor people. And I'm not in favour of that.
No, I mean, not British people. I'm talking about...
Why is it any different?
Well, because they're already British. Their families and the generations back have paid into the system over hundreds of years.
But you're making Britishness or British citizenship dependent on whether or not you're a net taker or a net recipient.
No, I'm talking about people who've come from abroad. British poor people, that's our own problem, isn't it? They've paid in. Their fathers, their grandfathers have all paid in.
It doesn't need to be, though. You could just exclude them from citizenship.
Well,
if you're going to exclude foreign people from British citizenship because they're net recipients from the state, then why not exclude British people from British citizenship?
A workhouse for the British citizens, but for the foreigners, then they should foreign people be allowed to govern over us? Should you be allowed? Most countries don't allow anyone who isn't from there or born there to be have political power over the indigenous population.
I don't have an issue per se with foreigners ruling over
so they
British
come
people.
Here a couple
of course,
of weeks.
I have an objection to anybody ruling over people, but if we're accepting that people can be ruled over, then I don't have an objection to foreigners ruling over British people.
Charles, you always have an interesting take on things. I saw something in the Spectator the other day.
Yep.
Now, Asher, before we start this, do not make the comment you made the other day because it is unhelpful. Just to be clear, this doesn't happen in this company, but there are companies around. Do not say what you said the other day, Asher. So I'm not saying anything negative about this company, but there are companies out there where you get the impression that people like HR and legal, the unproductive part of the company, have absolutely exploded in numbers, and then the productive bit has been shrunk. So as an example, you're going. The example they gave in the Spectator was this: people answering the phones at British Gas, say as an example, actually quite helpful because if you're a customer, you want to speak to them. But we don't want any of those. But what we need is more people, more HR people to worry about the rights of lesbians in the workplace or whatever. Now, once Ash, I appreciate Asher for not speaking. I
don't know what it was I said. It was so controversial.
But you've got this. To use the words of Dan Hannan, unprecedented engorgement of the unproductive part of businesses in order to squeeze down. I mean, nobody complains. Nobody complains if a $150,000 a year waste of time HR manager takes 2 hours for lunch. But if somebody who makes the phones, is off sick one day, they're all sort of all over them. I worry that this corporate fatty culture is destroying us.
I agree, and I think one of the reasons for that is we've just got this mass of discrimination law, and in particular the Equalities Act of 2010. And I believe it's that act of legislation which puts on companies an unlimited fine if they do any discrimination. And if that's the case, that you can face an unlimited fine for any kind of discrimination, then you are going to err on the side of having one more HR lady.
Yes.
Because otherwise you might get this unlimited fine that would bankrupt your company or seriously diminish its profitability. I don't think this is businessmen deciding to expand HR departments of their own accord.
Well,
I think it is in reaction to HR, or rather legislation.
It's in the hands of business, though.
You say that. Do people love it? So there is a question as to whether business people love it or not. So obviously, if you are an owner-manager, fairly obviously, spending £50,000 on an extra HR person who adds nothing, you're not going to love. I get the impression that there's two cheeks to this bum, if you like. One of them is the legislation, but also you get the impression that there are a lot of public limited companies led by people who don't care whether their shareholders do well or not, and are much more interested in their own reputation. If you look at Anheuser-Busch's ritual suicide over Bud Light with Dylan Mulvaney, well, what they did was they literally sat there one day and said, and because this is a bit people forget, how can we alienate our existing customer base in order to bring in millennials? Well, they set out to alienate them. But I don't
think that's quite true.
OK, go on.
I think it's the case that, I was at a lecture on this or a seminar on this recently, somebody very low down in the organisation was just given some autonomy to implement a marketing strategy, and they said, let's go with this popular trans influencer, and they booked this trans influencer, and then it all blew up.
Yes,
it wasn't from the higher ups. I think it was due to somebody low down the ladder.
By the way, you're able to do this. I don't mind. Do you think that I'm wrong when I say that people are putting their political opinions before the needs of the shareholders?
I think some people do that. They like to virtue signal to their lawyer and accountant and other public official friends.
Look what happened at Jaguar. But I mean, a lot of this DEI thing was driven from, the WEF and all that, and they would issue points to these companies, and that would enable you to get loans from the banks, because all the institutions, the banks were all in on it, and you wouldn't get certain. You were basically cancelled corporately if you didn't do these DEI and score these points.
When I was training to be an accountant, all of this DEI stuff was in the training. Sort of how can we ensure sustainability and diversity in the workplace? And if all accountants are having to go through that, and all lawyers and all doctors, I imagine too, then it is going to just get into the head and become part of accepted wisdom. Well, and that is unfortunate.
Stephen Barrett says he wouldn't be a KC because you have to believe in DEI to become a KC.
Which is ridiculous.
Also, I will tell you something. I had a friend of mine a few years ago who got done for drink driving, and we had a friend of ours, I will not say the name, who was a barrister. And my mate said, I'll tell you what, I'll get him as my lawyer. He said he couldn't do the case on the day because he was busy, but he was busy in the court next door. My mate went, "Phew, lucky I didn't have him, I'd have got the death penalty." And I said, "You can't get the death penalty for drink driving." He said, "You didn't see how bad he was. He was awful." You know what? Because he's gay, and from an ethnic minority, this barrister, they've made him a KC. I guarantee you the man is a liability. You would be better in court elbowing him out the way and having a go yourself. And yet he's now been made. But they basically said, "Oh, we haven't got enough gay ethnic minorities as KC, so we'll have it." But if I go into a barrister's chambers, I would assume a KC would be good, not an incompetent bloke who likes men.
The best man for the job should always be selected in these kind of things.
Absolutely. So look, I mean, I worry about immigration. Do you worry about immigration?
No.
Why?
Because I don't think it's the role of the state to ensure the culture of the country. And I don't think any of these arguments about, oh, they're a strain on the infrastructure really have much traction.
Okay.
You know, poor people in this country are a strain on the infrastructure. We're not chucking them out.
So don't bring more in.
But you
don't bring more. Well, I still think poor people should be free to reproduce and bring in to existence people that are going to be a net recipient from the state.
But you have a holistic view that's important to point out at this stage before people get angry with you. Yeah. You're not very keen on welfare either.
I'm not very keen on welfare at all. No.
I mean, I've turned around and I've said to people, if you're going to have welfare, if you're going to have an NHS, you can't have uncontrolled immigration. You can have one or the other.
Well, this is what Milton Friedman said, and I don't believe him, because surely it's possible to just have lots of immigration and just to exclude them from the welfare state benefits.
Yeah. But that's not going to happen. I mean, I get it.
It's politically possible, though, because it would be tremendously popular with voters to implement welfare state for
I'll tell you who's in,
no welfare state.
I'll tell you who's in favour of this. The British Bangladeshi Caterers Association, who run 80% of Indian restaurants, they're in favour of this policy. And I'll tell you why they're in favour of it. They say that they struggle to get people over as chefs from India. And the reason is because the government goes, oh, well, if they come in, then they're going to be entitled to a passport. They'll be entitled to bring the family. And they said, look, these guys expect £500 a week plus accommodation upstairs. They will work for 20 years, go on holiday and whatever. Yeah. They'll send the money back to Bangladesh or Pakistan or India. Yeah. Right. If you offer them 5 passports and benefits, they'll take it. Yeah. But they'd come anyway. And so,
100%.
And so the Bangladeshi Caterers Association going, what you are doing is you're making it harder for us to recruit by offering these people a benefit they don't want, or rather they don't need.
And we're in this ridiculous situation where they'll say, oh, we've got to have equality between all people when it comes to welfare benefits, so we can't allow the Indians in. But in doing that, they condemn the Indians to poverty in India.
All right,
so nobody's better off.
We've got to take a little break. If you want to join in the conversation, 03444991000, or you can send us a little WhatsApp message. We're with Charlie Amos, the writer and political advisor.
Political commentator.
Political commentator with 1970s styling. We'll be back after this.
across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Right, I've got to stop doing this. Every Friday they buy all these sweets and I end up inhaling about 15 packets of them.
You're not meant to inhale them.
Well, yeah, I didn't mean it literally. But now I've got sort of gluey...
Glue on the lungs.
OK, so we're here with Charles Amos. Charles, we did bring you here to talk about this situation with illegal migrants being given Valentine's cards from children.
Yeah.
I mean, given the issue with grooming gangs, this is probably by the teachers a well-meaning but fairly crass idea, isn't it?
Yes.
It was a grandmother, a green councillor.
Well, it's the Green Council that has done it this time, but in previous occasions...
It was
It's
school,
also
wasn't it?
it's
Yeah.
strange because Valentine's Day is for romantic love,
Exactly,
not for parental love.
Yeah.
Well,
And
my grandmother sent me a Valentine's card for many years.
They could actually use it, a lawyer could use it as a defence if one of them got done and they go, well, we thought it was legal because we were getting Valentine's cards from kids.
And given these individuals are kids and the migrants are adults, it doesn't even make sense.
But she must know what she's doing. It's almost like she's trolling people, isn't she? Look, I'm
She's
getting
just trying
my
to
kids.
virtue signal to
Yeah, but
the
it's
other
just
green
using her
councillors
grandkids
and
as
green
sort of...
members
It's disgusting, isn't it?
and show that she's a good person. That's all
But
she's
she's
trying
showing
to do.
she's a bad person. I mean, that's her grandkids.
Maybe that's unkind to her. Maybe she genuinely has set out with good intentions just to...
But she's using her grandkids.
Well, I
nice
think
to the
she's
migrants.
probably trying to prove that you can do this in a non-sexual way. But the thing is, I mean, I get your grand sending you a Valentine's card when you're a kid or whatever. But I mean, you know, if my dad's mate from football sent me a Valentine's card,
Well, yeah, how would that
would
grandmother
be
feel if suddenly a 14-year-old daughter came back and go, I got this Valentine's card from this 25-year-old?
I think she
She
would
won't
be
like it,
very
but-
concerned indeed.
Yeah,
very
well, yeah,
concerned.
It's like that. Oh, who's this? Oh, that bloke that Grandad drinks with down the dog and duck. I mean, you couldn't. It's not appropriate.
No, it strikes
Not
me
appropriate.
as strange at best and wrong-headed at worst.
I'll tell you what the sad thing is about all of this. It just seems to be this binary situation where we go, all illegal migrants are bad or all illegal migrants are good. And actually, the reality is, there are some people who I'm sure are very nice people. I mean, I wouldn't have illegal migrants in the country simply because they're not legally entitled to be here. And therefore, by definition, they should not be here. But you know, I met a lovely illegal migrant on the train the other day. Well, it was a little while ago. He was sat in first class on the train and was terribly
The
confused.
Gaul in first class as well.
He was terribly confused about the situation. So I spoke to the guard and I said, look, this man can't speak any English. He's completely confused. I think it'd be more trouble to kick him out than it would be. Anyway, it was only when we then used Google Translate, he explained that he was an illegal migrant who'd got off a boat. And I thought, just got him a first class ticket on the train. But
Terrible.
the reality is he was an economic migrant trying to game the system. But this idea that all of them are marvellous is I think, as stupid as saying that every single person who comes to the country is a rapist.
I'd agree. I suspect they've got more zhuzh to them, for want of a better word, given they've decided to go from their own country and travel quite a distance to this country. But the idea that they're all marvellous is questionable at best.
Well, it's proportionate, isn't it? It's proportional. Certain cultures, the rape are 20 times more likely to commit sexual offences. I mean, the number of rapes, I think 2002 was 12,000. It's now 70,000. So that's 20 years. So what's happened in 20 years? Well, we know what's happened, don't we?
Yes, I don't think there's any denying that if you import lots of illegal migrants from places like Pakistan and India, that you're going to get an increase in crime in this country.
But not all of them, obviously. But, you know, this is what people are complaining about, and then Starmer comes out and gets them mad.
But here's something. In a sense, it's a self-selecting group, isn't it? Because if you are an Indian working at Google, your ability to get to the United Kingdom is actually quite high. It'd be relatively easy to do it.
Yeah.
If you are an Indian who picks pockets for a living, it's going to be a lot more difficult. And this is the bit that people forget. When you go, oh, these illegal migrants are all from Pakistan, you're not making a generic statement about the Pakistani nation. What you're saying is, the sort of people that are the dross that would get on a boat are going to have the following things in common. And what will they have in common? I would suggest to you, number one, inability to get a visa, because a visa to enter the United Kingdom is significantly cheaper than a people smuggler. Ergo, one would assume the reason you're going through a people smuggler is because you can't get a visa. And why would that be? A lack of a court case to get here, i.e. you can't get a job, or you've got a serious criminal conviction, or you know, you're engaged in a criminal gang. There's some sort of intelligence reason. But the point is, if you are in Kosovo and you want to fly to Britain, getting a work visa is going to be significantly easier than jumping in the back of a fruit van.
Absolutely. If all of them applied for a visa, they would not all get the visa, though.
That is true.
I don't disagree with you.
But we get the dross, you see, because like say you're in Kosovo and you're doing well there, you're not going to leave. So only the people actually not doing any good from all these countries will go, well, take a chance at it. So we're getting all the...
The doctors, the lawyers, the accountants of India and Pakistan are not going to leave because their jobs are already quite well paying. It's going to be the people that don't make that much money but still have a bit of zhush about them that are determined to go across the continent.
Which is why you get people from you know, if you like, the border jumpers tend to go into businesses that are relatively easy but can be quite well paid, things like property development and things like that. I mean, property developers think of themselves as clever, but actually you can be thick as a wall and do that as long as you know how to paint something and you can buy and sell properties. But it's that sort of business. I mean, you ain't gonna set up a hedge fund, are you?
Yeah, one that is not very regulated. It takes cash in hand. It is going to be one that's going to be amenable to migrants.
And also the other thing is, I guess the other question is about companies like Uber. Now, we've got in trouble before. I just want to remind everyone that Domino's Pizza's drivers are paid full-time, right, just to be clear.
Are they?
They are. Yeah, they're proper workers. They're not part of the gig economy. Yeah. We got a very nice letter from Domino's. No, it was a very nice letter, but they did point out that they're not. It was a very nice letter, so they could have...
It came with a little cutout with a dip in it as well in the corner.
They could have sent us a nasty letter. They didn't. But look, when you look at something like Uber, in the end, you start to think to yourself, OK, it only cost me a £5 to get from here to there. But it costs the British taxpayer a £5 as well, because you've got all these in-work benefits, or you've got all of these child benefits. Basically, you're bringing people over here to be paid a sub-economic wage in the gig economy to be subsidised by benefits.
Yes, and I think we should strip the benefits from the migrants, and I think we should strip the benefits from everybody else too. But I don't think simply because these migrants are getting benefits that is justification to stop them from coming into the country in the first place. It's no justification to stop poor people coming into existence that are British from coming into the country.
Yeah, but there's the other argument,
for example. So why should it be any reason to stop?
Well, because of the culture. It's not just about the money, the economy. It's about the culture change as well.
If you're a liberal, you can't accept this argument. It's not the responsibility of the state to ensure the culture of the country. If I want to turn into an Ethiopian chap by cooking lots of Ethiopian food,
but you wouldn't become Ethiopian.
I wouldn't. I've tried it.
You wouldn't become Ethiopian.
The government would have no right to stop me from becoming Ethiopian.
You couldn't become Ethiopian, could you? Just cooking.
No, if we wanted to adopt Ethiopian customs, such as getting your food parcels from above.
They'd just say that's Mad Charles. He likes to pretend he's an Ethiopian.
If I accept this and embrace the Ethiopian culture, if we're going to accept this argument, the government can stop immigration so it's to maintain British culture, it would have a right to stop me from embracing Ethiopian culture.
You wouldn't do proper Ethiopian culture.
That's fundamentally illiberal.
The
state is not to ensure any kind of culture. It's just to ensure the freedoms of the Indian nation.
I actually slightly disagree with that. So I take your point, but I think actually that there's a jump from saying, let's safeguard what's here already by not allowing new people in and saying, I am the regulator of culture. Because nobody's saying, actually, it's the lefties that are saying we've got to try and create this new British culture. What we're saying is this simple proposition, which seems to me to be bonkers, that you are just as British if you're Somalian and can't speak English as you are if somebody was born in Tunbridge Wells, is silly. Ergo, what we should do is very much limit the number of people that come to the country, but not do anything beyond that. I don't think we need to muck about.
I think Englishness is defined by your ethnic identity. I am with the...
Why?
Why? Because I just don't believe that if you're from Africa, you can be English. And I think,
if you can be British, how can you...
And I think it's very implausible to say that if people were to accept English culture in India or Pakistan, that all of a sudden huge areas of India or Pakistan would become English. No. No, and I would also ask people...
No, they'd become anglicised. They would not become English because they would not be in England.
So you have to be in England and adopt an English culture to be English?
I think so.
So if you're an expat in Spain, you're no longer English? If you're white and from Sussex?
Expats are difficult because by their very definition, they maintain the culture of the country they've come from. They're not immigrants in that sense. That's why they're expatriates. They intend to go back.
But that would be true with the Pakistanis. They might adopt an English culture and wish to maintain it. I wouldn't call them English, even if they were through and through English in their culture.
Let me just be clear. What I would like in immigration is for them all to be expats. So what happens is you say, I've come over from Somalia to work in London. Yeah. I continue to be Somalian. I continue to have a Somalian passport, and I will return to Somalia when the work is finished. That is my utopia. And then actually, I've got to be honest with you, I'd pretty much open the floodgates to anyone. Yeah. I'd say anyone can come as long as you've got a job.
So you don't want the state to maintain the culture of England. You're quite happy for people to come along and maintain their culture.
Well,
that is multiculturalism.
See. Okay, so I might have created a hole in my argument, but in my mind, the critical thing to defending the culture is citizenship, right? And I believe the reason I believe that is because when people are not citizens, every problem can be resolved. You can limit the numbers, you can send them back, you can keep them in, you can do whatever. But also critically, I see one of the major risks to our culture of ethnic voting at the next election. Well, not ethnic voting in the next election, ethnic voting already. I believe that there will be probably 40 jihadi MPs in the House of Commons, and I think that we will start voting on religious lines in the future. Now, if you're not a citizen, that won't be a problem.
Because they won't be able to vote.
Because they won't be able to. Well, they would under the current system because of the Commonwealth thing, but they wouldn't under my system. Now, bluntly, does that make me a giant hypocrite? Maybe it does, but I just think as long as you can't vote, we're safe.
Ooh, I don't know the answer to any of that.
Well, it's the good news is you haven't got any time to answer because you need to get a train to Oxford.
Anything else you want to get off your chest before?
Well, he hasn't got time. He's got 12
that's
seconds.
it. Sorry, Charlie.
No,
that's it.
I'm afraid.
You got 15 seconds. Anything?
Less so now.
No.
9.
So anyway, that was Charlie Amos, Charles Amos, political commentator. Check it out. Check him out at Conservative Home. By the way, we've won the gold in the skeleton back of the net, whatever that is. It's Talk with Andre and Ash. We'll be back with Councillor George Madgwick after this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Well, it may not have come as a huge surprise to everybody, but Restore Britain, which was the pressure group set up by Rupert Lowe, has converted into a political party, and they intend to run at the next election. From what I can see, he's a little bit too late, what with Reform and indeed Advance UK, but he remains a popular figure, though Lord knows why. He put out a 6-minute video today, which is about as self-aggrandising as you would have expected. Take it away. I ought to apologise. Rupert Lowe threatened to sue me for no good reason, and therefore I got a bit angry with him. I don't disagree with a lot of the things he's got to say, actually. And what I shouldn't have done earlier was sort of mix the fact I've got personal emotions towards him for threatening to sue me. Yeah. And look, I think what he's done was brilliant. Some of the things he's done are brilliant.
This private investigation is fantastic. Well, it's not, it's horrific, but we're finding out stuff that the government should be doing.
I thought his 10-minute rule bill on quantitative easing was absolutely fantastic. What about kosher slaughter ban?
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's a bit... it's been here for hundreds of years, and I think it's pretty quick and efficient.
I've got to be honest with you. I don't care about whether you eat halal or kosher food. It doesn't particularly bother me. I mean, in Israel, I didn't go to non-kosher places because I'm a Christian. And equally, if I go to a local Indian restaurant, it doesn't bother me that it's kosher food. I think what is unfair, the way that they they make every single dinner, every single primary school at school dinner kosher, halal, simply because kids like pork sausages. I don't.
Well, yeah, if you want a pork sausage, yeah, you shouldn't have that. If it's, you know, a British school, it should.
I'll tell you the other thing that annoys me, when people have made up elements of their religion that don't exist. Like these parents that go, oh, I can't go to this city farm. My kid can't go to this city farm because they'll come face to face with a pig. Well, as long as you don't bite it.
Just don't eat them, yeah. Just don't eat them.
I mean, if a pig was in this room now, it wouldn't be un-Jewish.
It'd be terrifying, though. Have you seen the size of some of these pigs? And they're quite vicious.
Well, OK, I hadn't thought of that element. OK, let's go to George Madgwick, who is a councillor in Portsmouth for Reform UK. Well, look, OK, you have thought long and hard about which political party to go into in the past. Why don't you explain why you went... Sorry. Do you know what? I've introduced that badly. Why don't I just remind people you were an independent councillor who got involved in local politics because you were just a local concerned citizen. Your political party involvement comes afterwards. Why did you choose Reform rather than any of the other political parties on offer? And why have you never gone to Advance or Restore?
Yeah, sure. Good evening, guys.
Good evening.
For me personally, I believe that the main three parties have kind of had their time. I think that, you know, we've lived through a state where Conservatives have gone so far from their days where they were, you know, the party of Thatcher. And I believe that, you know, Labour are no longer the Labour Party. They don't represent working people. I think they've had their time in government. They've time in their power. And for me personally, I would have been a hypocrite if I remained as an independent. For years, I've kind of wanted to get into the kind of more national field of stuff, and I was starting to talk about national policies, but I was an independent. And as an independent, other than from a local council perspective, you can't do very much on a national level.
Sure.
So I had to kind of look at the options on the table, and I've always followed Nigel Farage. I really like the policies that they've been putting forward. I thought they were a strong party. I know a lot of the people involved with it, and I believed in what they did and believed in what they do. And it wasn't a quick decision for me. It was a decision that took probably 9 to 12 months in total, including speaking with the guys at Reform for about 6 months. So it wasn't something I just jumped into.
Yeah, but what about that video? Did you watch the Rupert Lowe? Did it, you know, give you an emotional twinge? Are you starting to get, you know, thoughts to...
Did it make your balls tingle?
Absolutely not. The thing is that look, Reform are the only viable party that have got a chance of taking the next government in 2029. And I truly believe that the next general election is going to be probably one of the most vital ones in our entire lifetime. I think we're really on a precipice here.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it.
Of no return. And
make or break, isn't it, next?
What about...
It is, and I can't do anything that will allow a Green Party or Liberal-run government at all in any capacity, and that's the risk that we've got.
Would you like to see them joining up with Reform and fixing up their falling out? Ben Habib, Rupert Lowe get together with Farage and unite the right together.
Sorry, can I just add a comment to that? Our audience would absolutely love that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would love that. I think a lot of people that are reform supporters also do like and support Rupert Lowe as well. And I think a lot of people find the falling out between them quite disappointing, because I think Rupert Lowe does share a lot of the opinions and personal policy opinions of reform. I think they do have a lot in common.
Well, when one of the big issues with Tommy Robinson, I get frustrated about that, because I don't think Tommy Robinson's a political issue. He gets on with what he's doing. He's not... When people said he can't join reform, he wasn't applying. And I think sometimes the political left attempt to get us all to argue about Tommy Robinson. He is now very firmly doing his... I forget the name of the news outlet he's founded.
UK something.
Yeah, whatever it is. But it's doing incredibly well. He's not bothered about the rest of us. He's not interested in the rest.
No, he's not. But the problem with Tommy is he's always been toxic, and anybody that he's assigned to, or aligned to, sorry, often have trouble succeeding in the polls. I mean, we look at what he did to UKIP. I mean, UKIP's entire fallout around Gerard Batten and all the people back in those days was around Tommy Robinson. There was a huge major split within the party because of Tommy Robinson. So unfortunately, regardless of what his opinions are, he is incredibly toxic to any national party.
Okay, here's the allegation. Right, and I've put this allegation to Ben Habib. As I say, Rupert Lowe's not speaking to me because, well, he's just not speaking to me. And I've put it gently to Nigel Farage. There is a perception amongst our audience that these three men are brilliant but have giant egos, and the country has to suffer three separate political parties because they're not big enough and men enough to get together. I mean, what's your view on that?
Yeah, I mean, I do think that is probably the case with Ben Habib. I do think, you know, he has got an ego. I absolutely do. And I think that...
Well, you must admit about Nigel Farage. In fact, all of them, Andre's right. They all have the ego.
Oh, I mean, I don't think anybody's saying any one of them's worse than the other.
Yeah. You have to have that ego, really, to do what they're doing.
You can't lead a party without having some form of an ego. Let's be clear about that.
Apart from Keir Starmer.
What I do worry about is the factionalism of it, the fact that, you know, we don't like your opinion, so we can't work with you. Politics is all about negotiating and kind of finding common ground. And I feel that, you know, certainly Ben Habib, and I do understand why he was upset with reform. I do understand that, but this is politics. You know, at the end of the day, he couldn't be in the position that he wanted to be in, and he decided to kick off.
I've got to be honest with you, I don't understand why Ben Habib was so upset, because for me, they were desperate for him to win that seat. Reform were. And when he didn't, they wanted a deputy who was in the House of Commons. Now, I personally would have had two deputies, but I still don't realise what... I mean, I felt it was very clearly only because he'd lost the seat.
Yeah, it seemed that way, and that's the reason why he couldn't be deputy leader. Look, decisions happen within parties way beyond our pay grade and what we know about. But at the end of the day, what there has to be, and this is actually one of the things that the left are actually good at, is when it comes to the crunch, they're good at uniting behind the one common person to be the right of politics, right? And I think that's what we've got to do.
Well, we used to be good at that. It's actually flipped.
Labour did fall out. I think he just threatened him with a general election. That's why they all backed him up.
Yeah, and we've got a real concern about this happening in 2029 at this stage. If we start to see Restore Britain in advance and UKIP start standing in seats, even if they only take 1%, 2%, 3% each, that could be enough to cost reform.
Yeah. I actually think it's going to be much more sophisticated than that. My old friends in the Conservative Party constantly go on about unity. I mean, I've got to be honest with you. Unity now would be the Conservatives being the junior partner to reform, but they're not in that headspace of being able to say that. So they think, why isn't Farage getting behind Kemi? But you're never going to change them in that respect, or you're not going to change them now. But I actually think what will happen is this. I always talk about Leigh and Windsor, the two constituencies I'm most associated with. Leigh, where I'm from, well, I think of them both as my hometown, if I'm being totally honest, because I've spent as much time in each of them. For me, and I don't want to upset you, but for me, I think what will happen is the right will coalesce around Jack Rankin in Windsor and the Conservative will be elected. I think that even though Leigh was a Conservative seat and officially is a Conservative Labour marginal, I think Reform will win it by a mile. And I think that's because there's an ability on things like social media. I think people are able to coalesce around a winning party. So it wouldn't surprise me if in Great Yarmouth, Restore Britain gets its only MP. So I bet you it wouldn't surprise me if Restore Britain gets, say, 100,000 votes, but 30,000 of them in Great Yarmouth, and the rest are sort of. Do you see what I mean? I think people are going to be able to be much more tactical than they ever were before.
I do hope so. I mean, I'd welcome that entirely. Of course, I entirely want Reform to have the biggest majority possible. But at the end of the day, the one thing I do not want more than anything is, as I said before, a Green or Liberal run government. And we've got a real concern of that happening with this vote being split.
Yeah. Right, we've got to take a little break here. George Madgwick is with us. If you got any questions, 03444 99 1000. It's Talk, and we'll be back after this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk. Across.
Yes, this is The Late Show with Andre Walker, Asher Gould and George Madgwick. George, just before we talk about Donald Trump and his 10 billion suing at the BBC, yay! I just want to ask you just about this new title that you've got, Southeast Campaign Manager for Reform UK. Explain.
Yeah, I mean, I work for Reform now, which is amazing in a paid job. Which is really, really good. I love it. And my job is basically to manage and oversee all the campaigns, by-elections and the mayoral elections in the whole southeast of England.
Well done. Congratulations.
And that includes Windsor.
It does. Yes, it does indeed.
You're going to have to come down to the brewery that I'm a part owner of and just purely for as a fact-finding mission. What seats do you think Reform will be targeting? Sorry.
In the general election or
local? General election. Well, no, I'll tell you what, in the local elections, where do you think you've got a reasonable chance?
I think we'll do really well across Hampshire. I think Hampshire's going to be really strong for us in our region. A lot of the unitary authorities there as well, like Southampton, Portsmouth, Havant, Gosport, those type of areas are going to be really good for us on a local election point of view.
But that's your area, isn't it? I mean, what
but you won't know nationally, will you?
Yeah.
I mean, nationally, yeah. I mean, look, my region, as I say, is the southeast. So, I mean,
is Essex count? Essex is not the southeast, is it?
No, so it's quite a large area. So we've got Kent, West Sussex, East Sussex, Hampshire, Berkshire, Oxfordshire, Buckinghamshire, and Surrey. So it's quite large. I mean, Surrey, we got the new boundary, so we're looking pretty good in Surrey. But obviously, we had the local elections cancelled in West Sussex and East Sussex, which obviously isn't great.
Okay, well, look, good luck with that. We will follow that. Unfortunately, as you know, ludicrous rules by the regulator mean that actually during elections we can't talk about the elections, which is madness. But don't worry, when Farage gets in, we're going to abolish Ofcom anyway, so it'll be fine. Oh well, never mind. Okay, don't press the delete button. They know that already. If they didn't know that on Ofcom, they shouldn't have the job. Anyway, tell us all about Donald Trump's £10 billion legal fight. Do you think it's going to actually be a thing? It has jumped its latest hurdle and moves closer and closer to going to court.
Yeah, it certainly has. It certainly has moved closer. I still struggle with the grounds. I actually think that what BBC did was shocking, absolutely shocking and disgusting, in my personal opinion.
But it was libelous, wasn't it?
It was terrible, absolutely terrible.
Well, that's why he's suing them for defamation. I mean,
absolutely. But I think the laws that he's suing them under in America, I think, are quite weak, and I would be interested to see whether he's got a chance or not.
But he's won. I think he's won against YouTube. He's won about 5 before, where he sues them for like 10 billion and ends up with 25 million. He did it with Disney. He did it with YouTube. He's done it with about 5 different networks. He's very successful. He goes in at 10 billion and he gets settled for like 25 million, which is probably what he's aiming for.
Yeah, and I think he would settle for that, to be fair. I think I was listening to a show earlier on that said the same thing, and I do agree with that. I think he'd settle for a lot less.
What's the implication for us? Because first and foremost, the BBC is a division of the British government, let's be totally honest. And therefore,
especially this government.
Therefore, if it lost 10 billion, we would be expected to pick up the bill, I imagine, in some way, shape or form. I personally would sell the BBC to pay the bill. But anyway, but you know, it's sad, really, George, to think that it's for the American president to step in and ensure professional standards in the British government.
A bit like Elon Musk with X.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm not a fan of BBC anyway. I think it's had its day. I think it should be defunded and privatised, as you say, and sell it off and put some money in the British coffers. I don't like it. I've not been a fan of it for years, and I think their recent behaviour on multiple fronts is appalling. Absolutely.
And they can't compete. I mean, they used to go on about all the BBC dramas. They're not as good. They haven't got the money of Netflix and Prime. They just can't compete.
And their budget's getting even lower. I mean, they just announced, was it today or yesterday, they had to cut £600 million from their budget for next year.
Well, they're losing 1 million licence fee payers a year.
But if you look at what happened with this company, with News UK, our boss Rupert Murdoch, and I don't want to speak on his behalf because I don't know the man, I've never met him, but he wants to merge Sky and News UK, and when he was unable to do that, he said, look, Sky on its own is never going to be big enough to make the dramas and the TV shows and all that sort of thing that are going to be made by Netflix and Amazon and whatever. So he sold it to Comcast, which I can completely understand. The BBC sits there and it says that it is going to be a standalone UK production arm, and I don't see it happening. I don't see it working. I mean, for Sky with its budget to turn around and give up is
and the quality has gone. It's like across the whole of society. You look at our politicians, the quality is down. Our academies, our academics. Yeah, everything's gone down in quality, and it includes people in the media, people going into the BBC. You know, the best people will probably be in the commercial media.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, you know, as I say, I think they personally had their time. I think BBC have got some good stuff. Look, they probably make stuff that would never exist without the BBC. I think
that's what they should be there for. They shouldn't be competing commercially with strictly ice dancing and all that rubbish.
Yeah, they should be providing a public broadcast service, a non-biased, impartial public broadcast service. That's what they should be doing.
They're meant to be making the stuff that people don't want to watch. That's when they know they're being successful, the stuff that people won't make in the commercial.
But see, that was the point, Asher, that I made about Dr. Beeching. I appreciate it happened in the 60s. What I would have said is let those railway lines that can operate in the private sector operate in the private sector. Then decide what we need to subsidise.
Yeah.
You know, when they're going, oh, we need 5 Live as talk radio. Well, do we? Because actually you've got talk radio, you've got LBC, you've got...
They're actually generating tax as well, you know, rather than these...
Look at those, look at the Newsnight now, look at those two sour faces.
There's a perfect example. You go to BBC, you go into BBC offices and it's quiet as a mouse because everyone's worried about saying something that they're going to be cancelled for. You come here and it's all everyone's having a laugh.
So people are taking the mick out of us for turning into Gogglebox. But if you were to see, I mean, the 3 people...
What is that? She's got a wig on.
Look at that.
Right, anyway, no, better not reference that, yeah.
I don't think you two would probably be welcome working on the BBC on a live show. I'm not sure that they would appreciate that broadcasting. But that's why you're on Talk, right? The home of commentary.
George, you got 2 minutes left. Without hesitation, repetition or deviation, what you got to get off your chest in the next 2 minutes. Away you go.
The local government reorganisation is rubbish. You know, I think that the government... Joe, on a serious note, at the end of the day, we've got a government in this country that have cancelled more elections in the last 6 years, Conservatives and Labour combined, than in the century before that. I think that it's absolutely disgusting. And cancelling elections 2 years in a row is appalling. I think, they keep using excuses to cancel elections. They cancelled last year's for the mayoral elections. Then this year, the mayor elections got cancelled to make way for local government reorganisation. And I think we're on a real slippery slope. So, if I've got something to get off my chest, it is purely that I think democracy is being hit terribly hard. I think that the Labour government are running scared, and they're going to do anything in their power to hold on to power for as long as possible. And what people need to
Another
really
30 seconds, please, George.
Yeah, people what really need to watch out for is what happens in the councils that have been cancelled this year with their elections. They're the ones you got to really watch out for, because they're the ones that are going to be making some big changes in the next 12 months.
Another 10 seconds, please, George. No, I mean, you're right. Let's call it an anarcho-tyranny, isn't it? I mean, it's obvious what's going on. They're gerrymandering with the voters under 16s. But, yeah, thanks for joining us. That's Councillor George Madgewick. He's just had a big promotion with Reform.
Really big promotion. That means he's Chief of Staff to the election campaign for reform in the southeast of England.
We're going to speak to one of our own, a new guy, one of our own journalists who's been here a while, Kieran Galpin, in the next bit. I'm going through all tomorrow's papers today, so keep on talking to Andre Nash. We'll be back after the news.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Being honest, they said it with Lord Porchester. Oh, hello, I'm awfully sorry. This is the press preview with Andre Walker, Asher Gould, and our new paper reviewer, who is Kieran Galpin.
Just
Kieran,
took the wrapping off, yeah. Tell us about yourself, Kieran.
Joined Talk a few months ago.
Yeah.
Been doing a few reports.
Yeah.
I've been told I'm the new Samara Gill,
Yeah.
who hopefully Talk listeners
do you
are
ever say the
very
words
familiar
Butte
with.
Bonza?
I do not say the word.
Which is lucky, because neither does she.
Yeah.
So what's your past before here? What did you do? You uni or?
Yeah, I was at uni.
Where were you?
At
What-
City-
Exeter.
Exeter.
No,
Like,
come on.
Oh,
Come on.
Falmouth.
Come on. Falmouth. That's niche. My brother's at Falmouth.
What goes on at Falmouth?
Marine biology.
And journalism. A lot of broadcast journalism was.
Does it?
Falmouth is principally people learning how to spy on the Russians, isn't it? by putting sound into
What? Because they got the deep water.
audio.
Did you stay in London for university?
Undergrad, I was at St Andrews.
St Andrews. Right?
Oh, come on. That's like Exeter, only in Scotland.
Wow.
Let's be honest.
Wow.
It's the Birmingham City ground.
So did you fail to get into Exeter?
I did not apply to
What
go
did,
to
you,
Exeter.
what did you
come
study?
on.
Politics?
No, philosophy.
Okay, so you went to
You got any
St.
philosophical questions? Give us a
You
ring.
went to St Andrews. Did you apply to Oxford or Cambridge?
Oxford.
Oxford. Yeah, I thought so.
Why didn't they accept you?
Because he wasn't very good.
Because he's white
Not
and
clever enough.
British.
Right, we've just ruined
And
it.
no, 'cause he's asking why it's an interrogation. We always do interrogate.
Yeah, go on, keep going, I'm ready.
Well, I wanted to go to the LSE, but couldn't.
Why didn't they let you?
But because I was crap. I wasn't good enough.
Where did you grow up?
Sorry.
Whereabouts? What was the
Esher.
exact address?
Esher. Esher and
I know Esher.
Do you?
A little bit.
Great
Little
girl.
bit. Okay. So, Kieran...
Whaley was from Epsom, James Whale, Ewell Village to be precise. Yes.
Very good.
Have you ever met Chris Grayling?
No.
Because that's worth not ever meeting, if I'm being honest. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with him. He's just very boring. Anyway, Kieran, the most dishonest question ever asked in British media, we'll ask you now. What have you spotted in the papers? I.e., what were you told to talk about first?
Have spotted this story in the Daily Mirror about
Nailed it.
Prince Andrew, which has been this story that's been rumbling
A stain on the family.
A stain on the family, indeed. And this is saying that Prince William wanted his uncle Andrew banned from as early as 2019. Yeah, so...
Is it just because William is quite aggressive, or do you think they knew as early as 2019 that it was that bad?
They knew.
I think they knew.
Yeah.
I think they probably knew.
Prince William wanted his uncle Andrew banished over revelations about him and Jeffrey Epstein 6 years before he was finally exiled. The Prince of Wales, 43, clashed with Dad Charles and the late Queen after ex-Duke's 29 car crash. So it was after that terrible mateless interview.
I've got to be honest with you
That
now.
was bad.
I've got to be honest with you now. Had he not done that interview, it would be as bad for him, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because ultimately, it's all... I mean, that picture of him climbing over that girl... Now, he might be just messing about in this picture where he's climbing over the unnamed female, but it's... Given the revelations from Jeffrey Epstein's island, that is ruinous anyway, isn't
But I
it?
think that
It's
interview was
remarkable.
bad.
That photo has been everywhere.
Because you don't know.
It's come
That
up
looks like
and
it
up.
could be under. You don't know. But I mean, that interview was particularly bad. It sort of kicked him out of the into the open, and then this is sort of put the nail in the coffin. And there's going to be more drip fed coming through, and they're worried about will it reach King Charles? Well, is it?
I don't get this whole King Charles might have to abdicate over it.
No,
I don't understand that transaction. Are you a Charles will have to abdicate person?
I'm not, but it's how much he knew and when and whether there was a cover-up. I mean, there have been rumours about how much the late Queen knew as well.
Doesn't he just say, I mean, I know this would be awful, but he could say, hang on, I wasn't the head of state at the time. The head of state at the time took a decision to pay this woman off. I was not consulted on that. Scoff, scoff. But ultimately, the job of Prince of Wales doesn't carry a heavy constitutional duty. If she says, I'm paying the bloke off, I'm paying the woman off because I love my son, the Prince of Wales would be very, very hard-pressed to do anything about it.
Yeah, but I think it's more if there's public backlash. If there's sufficient public backlash against the monarchy, then there might be people wanting him to roll,
isn't it always
and then
gonna...
Charles has to take the hit.
He chucked apparently $2 million into the pot, and he hasn't paid it back, Andrew.
There we go.
He hasn't paid it
Well,
back.
he's not going to pay it back now, because let's be clear, Prince Andrew's ability to make money ought not to be activated. Right, can we all agree? What about this thing that has been in the newspapers today, which I just want to praise you very quickly, because I made note of it earlier, about him leaking. Now, just to be clear to absolutely everybody watching and listening to this, I don't want to diminish the fact that there are young women who've been abused, but the market manipulation of Peter Mandelson, if proven, will be a far greater sin than the abuse of a few young women, much as that is horrendous, because you are talking about tens of millions of people, i.e. the entire UK population, being hosed financially. What about this one where this relationship with Jonathan Rowland, where in 2010 the Icelandic bailout gets leaked to Jonathan Rowland, and Andrew says in the email, you might want to look at this before you make any financial decisions. I mean, that bailout of Iceland, I'll tell you the one thing, and I'm going to say this to all of you, Gordon Brown's sale of the gold reserve at a quarter of what it was worth was, at the time, as a result of a leak that he was selling it. If one of these people has leaked that, and by the way, at this stage, that's perfectly possible. It's possible that a Ukrainian young woman, a Russian young woman, performed whatever act on Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, and it cost the British taxpayer £2,000 for every man, woman, and child in the country.
Possibly the 2008 crash.
Say that again.
Well, the 2008 crash, they were in contact with Epstein. People were telling things, they were going to bail out this bank, that bank.
Correct.
This was all found out before, and then there's...
This isn't, when you're talking about these bailouts,
that's trillions.
You are not talking about $1 million here and $2 million there. You're potentially talking about if every single leak of every single financial bailout that happened during Brown and Blair and all the prime ministers after that, if all of them were Mandelson and Andrew, which it's absolutely not proved they were, you might be talking about as much as £4,000 for every man, woman and child in the country has been paid as a result of these two people's actions.
And Epstein worked for Bear Stearns, which was one of the first banks to go.
So, well, also, I mean, Mandelson, the Democratic House Committee has summoned Mandelson. They're saying Mandelson should be going over to the US.
Will he be made to
testify.
go?
He can't be
because he's not a US citizen.
He's not even leaving his house at the moment, because I passed it again today at Regent's Park, and it's just cameramen parked outside. I would have knocked on the door.
Well, there police outside still, or
I don't know. The police.
Well, the police inside soon. Yeah. I've got to be honest with you. I genuinely believe that both Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and Peter Mandelson should be charged with misconduct in public office. And I'll tell you why. It's very fashionable in these shows to say, well, let's see what the police investigation turns up. Do you know what I think we should do? Turn up as much evidence as there is and ask a court, or rather ask a jury, to decide whether they think these people should be in jail or not. I think that, and I know that's an old-fashioned view, screw the CPS, but I think that's the right thing to do. I think we should go, this is what these people have done. Do you believe that this constitutes misconduct in public office? And I think we should get on with that.
Yeah, I think it's a perfectly legitimate point. I mean, one of the criticisms of the US summoning these people is why do we need the US to be prosecuting or investigating or looking into Andrew, looking into Mandelson? Is there not enough for the police to be looking into them? Of course,
there's a remarkable irony, isn't there? That the United States of America, God bless them, are fascinated by people in the United Kingdom, but the only 3 people so far who've carried the can for any of this are all British: Ghislaine Maxwell, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and Lord Mandelson. I can't think of an American who's in any trouble at all.
They've been smeared a bit. I mean, Bill Gates and obviously Clinton, but nothing actual legal problems has happened to them already.
I mean, also the other thing about Bill Gates, I mean, the allegation he might have had a sexually transmitted disease. I mean, if you have had a sexually transmitted disease, it's not necessarily something that you should be held sort of culpable for. It's these things.
But he slipped his wife some antibiotics, didn't he?
No, he didn't do that because it's not been proved. It's not been proved.
That's
okay. I love the way. There's legal departments, there's due diligence, and there's Ash. Let's go for it. Let's just Andre had sorted it by being nice about Bill Gates, and then let's just go in 2 feet first. Screw it. All right, go on, Ash. Keep going.
Allegations. The Daily Express recognise our heroes and put lives on the line. And this is terrible. George Cross recipient backed our campaign, the Express's campaign, to honour injured emergency workers. A George Cross hero has backed the Daily Express campaign for a medal to honour emergency workers injured, putting their lives at risk.
Oh, what a great idea!
And some of them get attacked now. These days people attack ambulance drivers and.
Kieran, can I ask you this question, just so we can feel you out politically?
Yeah, go on.
This idea, which I'm strongly in favour of, by the way, which is somebody comes into your to the NHS hospital, comes into a clinic, ambulance, tries to attack the nurse, doctor, paramedic, just leave them. I just say, right, just get out onto the street. Oh, they might die. Well, one would hope so.
So, in no matter how extreme the scenario is?
Well, if somebody attempts to attack an emergency service worker, they just say, you either calm down or you're not being treated. Don't care. I'm not going to strap you down and give you heart surgery. I'm just going to boot you out the door and let you die. He's a communist. He's a communist. He's a communist.
Anyway, look, we're going to take... Let's test him with his communist. Do you
Right,
believe
do you support
in
the death
seizing the means of production of the state?
Do you support the death penalty?
I'm just amused that you went
Do you,
from someone could go in
when you walk-
bleeding out, arms chopped off.
Yeah.
And they try and headbutt a nurse or something.
Do you wear
because
those,
they run.
do you wear those
And
big
they're gonna
furry
die.
hats? Do you wear those big furry hats when you relax? No. Anyway,
No,
look, we're
I
going to
don't,
take a
I
little
don't.
breaky, but let's
on record, I
tease
do
the
not.
audience. What's the next story you're going to be talking about?
Kominitsky.
What are you going to talk about after the break?
We're going to talk about the Guardian front page and the Palestine
of course we
action
are.
story.
Palestine action, that's right. They recently didn't get found guilty in a court case where they broke a policewoman's back. That's perfectly all right, according to the members of the jury. It's talk. We're with Kieran, who's our new star. That's Kieran Galpin. He's the new Samara Gill, don't you know? It's talk with that. No, he doesn't like that. It's Andre and Ash at Virtual Ash. Andre JP Walker. Have you got a handle?
On X,
Yeah, X or Instagram.
Kieran J. Galpin.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll do it again because this is the first time. This
Yes.
is the press preview hosted by Andre Walker and Asher Gill and co-hosted by Kieran Galpin. We'll be back in a sec.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Okay, this is the press preview with Andre Walker, Asher Gould and Kieran Galpin, but not that one. Okay, so well, the next story is The Guardian. Don't worry, they're never coming back. The Guardian, come on, Kieran. Come on, Kieran, do The Guardian.
Yeah, so this was the High Court ruling that came in today. Obviously, Palestine Action was prescribed about 6 months ago, saying that they were a terrorist group, and a High Court ruling challenged that prescription earlier today, saying it was unlawful. Now, what was interesting about this is that they said that the group had committed some terrorist acts, they'd engaged in some terrorist activity, but said that prescribing them as a terrorist group was unlawful.
This, Kieran, reminds me of the Axel Ruder Cabana situation, where they said he has been charged with terrorist offences, but he's not a terrorist. And you go, well, if he's been convicted of terrorist offences, he's a terrorist. No. It's just he's in breach of counter-terrorism legislation, but he's not more generally a terrorist. And you think, well, you know, if I breach murder legislation, I'm a murderer. You know, if I breach rape legislation, I'm a rapist. But the basic argument of the High Court is this: because only part of what Palestine Action do is terrorism. If you join, not being unable to join it might undermine your ability to protest against Israel. And they're not principally terrorists, but they just do that as a sideline. Well, that's like talking about Sinn Féin and saying, well, they're not principally. It is just this ruling talks to me about, or suggests to me, a bunch of absolute lunatics on the bench, who judges who should not be there. I mean, the idea that an organisation that plots terror attacks, because its main thing is not terrorism, you should be able to join in order to campaign against Israel, is just risible.
And broke a policewoman's back. That case the other day where they found them all not guilty, the jury, after, you know, they sledgehammers broke a woman's policewoman's back.
By the way, what they're also saying is, just to be clear, your human right to campaign against Israel supersedes the government's right to prescribe a terrorist organisation. That's what they're actually saying, isn't it? I mean, in legal it was so bonkers that they literally said, let's not actually lift the ban until the Court of Appeal throws this out. I mean, they didn't say
what
like
are they going to do now at their protest when they stand there and they don't get taken away? Because
actually, there is an answer to that.
Taken away.
Actually, no, there is an answer to that. The Metropolitan Police have said, and I think this is responsible, this is a highly unusual situation of a group that has been prescribed that remains a prescribed terrorist group. But there has been a ruling to say that it's not one. They said in that case what we will do is we will continue to intelligence gather, but we're not going to arrest anybody for supporting it now. Because
they said it was disproportionately unlawful and that most of their activities had not reached the level, scale and persistence to be defined as terrorism. So if they try harder, they might get prescribed.
Well, actually, it's exactly the same, I would suggest to you, as Hamas. So Hamas can legitimately say in the United Kingdom, look, most of what we do is run in Gaza. A bit of it is shooting Jews, but mostly we are a political organisation. Mostly we run the newspapers. Mostly we run the department. There's no
the Taliban. I mean, we recognise the Taliban.
Allow me to finish. There's 98% of what Hamas do is not mindlessly killing Jews. By this ruling, one would assume that Hamas would be allowed to be a completely legal organisation.
The other thing that's come out from this ruling is that to actually shut down Palestine Action and stop them from going in and ransacking defence factories or whatever it might be, is that actually having them as a terror organisation is very useful because you can just cut off the funding from them. When they're not a terrorist organisation and you just have to use criminal law to try and stop them, it's much harder because you have to prove that any funding that's coming in is actually being used for criminal activity, whereas when they're a terror organisation, you just cut off all the funding.
But would then... not would then. One would assume then that if once a week one member of News UK staff went out and slit the throat of a member of the public, News UK would, even though we were encouraging them to do it, we would not be a terrorist organisation, because what you would say is, well, we're principally a news outlet. The fact that they only kill one black person per week it can be dealt with by normal criminal justice. I mean, it's completely mad. I mean, the other thing is, so Al-Qaeda could say, well, OK, I'll tell you what we'll do. To make it simple. Yes, we attack the World Trade Center, but we'll get 99% of our operatives to hand out leaflets on the streets, and that would presumably legalise Al-Qaeda. I mean, it's just mad that you can commit, you can commission, you can organise, you can finance terrorist organisations, you can be convicted of doing it and not be a terrorist organisation. It's the Axel Rudiker-Barner thing. The reality is the court does not like the fact that this organisation is popular with Muslims. Fact.
I mean, one of the other arguments that's come out as well is that, oh, this group is just damaging property, they're not going out and killing people, but obviously damaging property and going in and destroying data centres, and even there was the case of the sledgehammer against the police officer as well. So there has been
found innocent, weren't they? And the planes, you know, military planes affecting our national security, they should have been shot when they broke.
I'm fine with that. I mean, look, if it is an act of direct action or protest to blow somebody up, I'm happy to go over and blow up the Iranian embassy right now. I'll do it right now. If it's a protest, by the way, it's not a protest, and there's no claim in law that blowing up your neighbour's house is completely fine as long as he's out. I mean, it's just bullshit, isn't it? It's bullshit.
So what do you think that the argument against it is always the suffragettes?
No, the suffragettes don't count. I'll tell you the reason. It's really, really simple. Difference between freedom fighter and terrorist is this. And it's easy to go with Nelson Mandela and Gerry Adams. Martin McGuinness is probably better. OK, so probably Nelson Mandela committed worse acts than Martin McGuinness. It's probably right in the IRA. OK, however, Nelson Mandela had no recourse to democracy. and therefore there was no way of putting his political issues on the table. Therefore, violence became legitimised. Gerry Adams, Martin McGuinness, the reason they committed acts of terror was because they wished not to participate in democracy because they felt they'd lose. Palestine Action's view is very simply this. The British taxpayer, the British state, through its democratic mechanisms, do not agree with us, therefore we should blow stuff up. No, that's terrorism. If you turn around in, as an example, Iran, and you say, we want democracy and they won't give it to us, then you can blow something up legitimately. It's all to do with the environment that you live in. You know, the reason why, Extinction Rebellion shut down the motorways because they won't win the election.
The suffragettes obviously didn't have infringement.
Sorry, back to the suffragettes, I apologise. Clearly they didn't have the vote and they were trying to get it. That is the difference. What it would be like now is saying, setting up a new group of the suffragettes who blow stuff up and jump in front of the King's horse on the basis that women's issues are insufficiently noticed in the House of Commons. That would be the same thing. It's a completely different proposition. And the fact that you believe that was garbage. Anyway,
what's your...
I was just proposing the...
Have you got another story that they told you to tell us about?
Yes, well, this is a story I actually don't know very much about, but it's the Brooklyn-Beckham feud that, again, has been
on
ongoing.
The Sun, this is, isn't it?
This is on the Sun.
Don't forget where you came from, Brooklyn, said Gordon's Ramsbottom.
Yeah, so this is an intervention saying, look, Brooklyn, you should, the penny will drop, you should make up with your parents and realise that you should, that don't forget where you came from, they raised you and you should build back your relationship with your parents, having had this very prominent fallout between them.
I don't know though. I don't know. I've got some sympathy. Look, I'm sure they're all spinning. I mean, making comment on Instagram that he made, but the whole. It's my wedding, we've got a press tent. Mum elbowed the bride out the way so she could have the first dance, so she'd get in the papers. The whole... We've exchanged real life for social media stardom. I kind of have some sympathy with... I don't know about you, but the number of people I know who literally don't live the life, they're just making a documentary about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I just think these stars now are so... I just wish that they wouldn't put their lives out on social media. Certainly if I was in that kind of fame, I would not be putting my family feuds out on social media and talking about it.
Why do they do it? Why do you think they do it?
Because it's the only world they live in. It's the only world they know.
Yeah. And I think there's something seductive about putting these stuff out because they know it'll hit the papers.
It's like those people like when I used to be on Facebook who'd go, I hate when people are chatting shit about me and they need to stop doing it. And you go, oh, who cares? Right, you've had an argument with your mate, right, and now you want everybody else to get involved, but you're not going to mention who it is, right, just to try and everyone's going, oh, hon, how are you? I do. And just normally delete those people. I don't care.
Right, Daily Star, race ace Ruby Cheltenham's the best of Britain. Sports legends love the festival on Valentine's, Cheltenham Festival, and this is just about the Cheltenham Festival.
Oh, I'm not going to go to the Cheltenham.
You know why not? You normally go, don't you?
I normally go.
Do you ever go down?
I've never been to the races.
Just big animals running around. What's so good? I know you like to drink there. You don't really see any horses, do you?
I used to get tickets to Jockey Club Private Lounge at any Jockey Club.
Is it all very small chairs and that, and all little tables?
No, it's literally, it was one of the best dues ever. One of the best dues ever. Getting drunk with Zara Phillips.
Yeah, they don't mess about. Is that where you got that helicopter, the private helicopter, was it?
No, the helicopter was at Ascot.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, that was the guy. He's going to become the Lord Chancellor if Nigel Farage wins the election. One of my mates said, do you want to lift home? And I went, yeah, why not? And he went, I've got the helicopter. So I was like, yay! I love being into horse racing. It's superb. By the way, just to be clear, I'm not that sort of person. Normally I'm in an Uber X, sort of.
So do you have a helipad at home for him?
Yeah, that's right. Get the helipad sorted.
Anything else? What other stories?
I thought this was amusing on the Financial Times weekend.
Amusing?
Yes, on the Financial Times.
Well, the price, £5.40.
Passengers in the wrong place make Heathrow feel overcrowded, says Chief, just at the bottom there. And this was the story that it's not Heathrow mismanagement, it's not just too many passengers coming through, it's that people are walking on the wrong side of the corridor and bumping into each other that makes it feel so busy.
There should be lanes, shouldn't there?
Although it is noticeable. It is noticeable when, like, that terminal at Heathrow where they fly to all the crap countries, right? Yeah. It is noticeable that it's less organised there, and like the people from the nations of the world that are I don't know, less. Well, let's just say less civilised. I don't care. You notice that their terminal is less. Like it's all, like the ones where you fly into America, it's all organised. But the ones where you fly into like Sri Lanka, they're all over the place. You've got the telly.
The shops are different as well.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot to be said about the fact that some countries are just rubbish, and actually,
and that's reflected in
reflected in Heathrow. That is reflected in Heathrow.
I had a mate lived at Heathrow Airport because he was evicted, and it's 24 hours, and he'd just go from it. He'd wear his business suit, so he looked like a businessman. And he'd just change terminal each day. He was there for about 3 weeks, like that Tom Hanks movie.
Did he get thrown out?
I think he moved to Singapore in the end. And on that bombshell. What?
Time. Let's go to a break.
Yeah, well, good idea. We'll go to a break. We've got Kieran here. He's our new star. It's Andre and Ash on Talk. Give us a ring 03444991000, and you can WhatsApp message us on that if you're a bit scared. We'll be back after this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
This is the press preview with Andre Walker, Asher Gould and Kieran Galpin. Kieran has been telling us all about his left-wing views during the break. And we've been apparently he is centre-right, whereas I'm an extremist, which is what they've all said. But we can test him out with some of our things here. What about this story that's dominated the press? This story about Valentine's cards made by children delivered by a counsellor. Now, we did it with schools in previous years. I find it creepy, adults and children exchanging Valentine's cards. I mean, look, my grandmother gave me a Valentine card when I was in primary school. But if my granddad's mate Derek had given me one when I was 10, that would have been weird, right? And I think conversely, doing it the other way around is slightly less strange, but still strange.
Agreed.
Is that all you've got?
Can you expand on that?
Well, does that mean I'm not a communist now? Because I think
you might be
too easy.
You could. It's possible that you're not a communist.
To be honest, I'm pretty anti-Valentine's Day, anyways.
Why?
It's just I don't know. It's not.
It's commercial.
Are you a supporter?
It's commercial.
Are you a supporter of the one that somebody invented a few years ago, like the men version of it?
What's
about the man version of it? Well, we can't say.
I know Galentine's.
We can't say what the man version of it is, what it's called. But actually, do you think that this counsellor is attempting to be just to provoke people, or somebody who's just trying to do something nice? Because I think sometimes these do-gooders, whilst they're a bit idiotic, they are doing the best.
I think he is probably just doing his best. I think he's got good intentions, probably, but I agree with you. It's a bit odd.
The Daily Mail, Mandelson's ghost flights on oligarch jet. It's getting worse and worse. Russian billionaire flew ex-Labour peer to summit with Putin. Mandelson took ghost flights on a Russian oligarch's private jet to a summit with Vladimir Putin when he was EU Trade Commissioner. The Mail reveals today the now disgraced peer accepted luxury flights aboard a Gulfstream jet controlled by one of the Kremlin's strongman's favourite tycoons, aluminium billionaire Oleg Deripaska. The EU subsequently slashed aluminium tariffs to the delight of. So this is again more and more stuff that Mandelson's...
I've just realised I used to go out drinking with Oleg Deripaska's chief of staff.
Did you ever get on his plane?
Do you reckon he was dodgy?
Did you ever offer you the plane?
No. All I did was had a few dinners at the Oxford and Cambridge Club.
No, you didn't schmooze him well enough.
Which was not bad, actually, quite good.
So, I mean, what do you think of all this Mandelson stuff and all this other disgraceful things?
I just want to investigate the links with Russia as well, frankly. I mean, it's been trickled out, potential links with Russia, links with Israel as well, between Epstein and whether that was being used to get compromat on people or to use him for connections, etc. And I think this is another case for that investigation.
They were all
to continue
involved with the oligarchs, weren't they? I mean, Boris Johnson made that guy a lord. I remember George Osborne and Mandelson.
I've got to be honest with you. I've got some time for Yevgeny Lebedev.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
Why?
And I'll tell you why. Because I think it's really, really difficult to be anything other if you're a billionaire Russian than be the child of a KGB guy. I don't think there's
really
any other way.
Life.
But there's no other way of doing it. That's the only way. And actually, to be fair to Yevgeny, he has invested heavily in UK media. His position in the House of Lords, I mean, he doesn't turn up now simply because of the way it's been so badly discredited. I agree. He's a friend of mine, and somebody said to him, look, the reality is you just shouldn't have taken the peerage because it causes so much trouble. But
yeah, well, I agree with that.
Also, he shouldn't have made himself Lord Lebedev of, what is it, Kensington and Chelsea and Siberia.
Yes.
Which I think
isn't it Moscow or something? Or no?
Pick one or two. Don't have two.
I think it's Siberia. Let's get his title.
Can you be a Lord of Siberia? We don't have. It's not a British territory.
Yeah, you can. If you've been either born in a place or you won a war there, you are allowed to, or you. Oh well. Anyway, he is because he's a Russian national. It makes it easier. If it was you or me, you'd have to have won a war there.
Yeah.
Daily Telegraph. Chris Packham, I have more in common with Clarkson than you'd think. And actually, I suppose he does review animals like Clarkson reviews cars. Also, election delays are wrong, says Watchdog. You don't say. No good reason for delaying votes for over a year, rules Electoral Commission. So they just ignore whatever happens. So what do you think about this?
Right, so his title is... Yeah. His title is The Right Honourable the Baron Lebedev of Hampton in the Borough of Richmond upon Thames and Siberia in the Russian Federation. I mean, that is a bit ludicrous. I can imagine if he was Lord Siberia.
Very similar places.
Sort of posted on social media after he got given the peerage, you know, so excited to be part of this establishment and very excited to be part of the British upper class. But I don't know. I'm surprised.
I don't think he turns up anymore.
No. Well, he was totally ostracised.
I don't think anyone spoke to him at all.
No.
Also in the Telegraph, Starmer, Britain's Brexit years are over. Keir Starmer will claim the UK is no longer the Britain of the Brexit years as he addresses world leaders in Munich today. The Prime Minister will argue that Britain should work more closely with the EU on defence and will urge Europe to end its over-dependence on the US. I mean, we're getting back in with...
But Asher, the big question about Munich is JD Vance speaking this year?
He's not.
Because
he made them cry, didn't he?
That was a cracker. That was a cracker, wasn't it?
Really.
So what's... look, forgive me, but in terms of Munich Security Conference, what goes on, right? The only thing I know about it was JD Vance offended them all last year. He was like that. He was like Clinton Baptiste, wasn't it? Off Phoenix Nights. He's just offending everyone. He's just offending people.
Yeah, well, various speeches going on. Obviously, the big one tomorrow is Starmer speaking, set to talk about Britain's Brexit's over. Also set to talk about Reform and the Greens as extremists because they're wanting to cut back on NATO and being soft on Russia. So,
I mean, if I'd flown all the way to to Munich for a security conference, a speech about Zach Polanski would, I mean, I would see that very much as a fringe event rather than a main hall event. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's Starmer's political strategy at the moment that he feels awkward about these foreign events, perhaps, then he's being told strategically you can't just do foreign affairs, which is obviously where he's much more comfortable at.
Well, they don't all shout, "Oi, Starmer, you what?" They don't shout that in Europe. Everywhere he goes here.
But the most awkward one must have been for that NATO ambassador. True or false, he was accused of moving in an Italian intern into ambassador's residence. And do you know
she had all the right qualifications, from what I could see.
Do you know what made me laugh? It's the way that was it the Times or the Sun, I forget. But the people in this building published it on the day he was going. I mean, that must have been filth to have turned up, and everyone's looking at you going, "You dirty old dog." It's superb.
Andrew leaked. This is also Telegraph. Andrew leaked confidential Treasury briefing to banker friend Andy Battenberg. Forwarded a confidential Treasury briefing to a banker friend while he was trade envoy. The Telegraph can reveal the former prince asked Amanda Thirsk, his deputy private secretary, to obtain an internal government memo in 2010 about the Icelandic financial crisis. Yeah, we talked about this earlier. In correspondence seen by the Telegraph, Miss Thirsk emailed Michael Elam, the Treasury Director General of International Finance at the time, asking him to produce a briefing note for Mountbatten Windsor on the Nordic nation. So
it's just getting worse.
It's getting worse and worse, isn't it?
And the more there's a pile on Mandelson, it looks like Andrew's doing very similar things in terms of passing on confidential information.
I worry very gravely about this, because the sort of market-sensitive information they're talking about, the cost, the arbitrage could be billions. And I will say one thing, and I don't want to be tween. We've had a laugh, obviously, we always do, Asher and I. But there are people watching and listening to this broadcast who've really struggled since 2008, who were just...
Some were ruined.
Just a little bit getting back on the feet recently, and then Labour have nailed them to the desk again. And to watch some talentless moron like Andrew Mountbatten Windsor turn round and just destroy what little effort the government has made to alleviate the misery. And I'm not saying that everybody watching this is struggling, but some people really are. The little effort that the British government has made has been comprehensively undermined by these people. Ew, see Ronaldo could get £4,000 a month. Can you imagine the moral bankruptcy of destroying the asset sales, destroying the bailouts of the British government during the 2008 financial crisis, so Ronaldo could get £4,000 a month? Oh, it's just disgusting.
Well, and people wonder why there's so much distrust in institutions, so much distrust in politics and democracy even, and these kind of stories are exactly...
And this is what's come out, and they've redacted millions of the documents. Miss Thirsk wrote, the Duke of York, this is what she wrote in a note, the Duke of York met with the Prime Minister of Iceland at Davos and would very much like to receive an update note on the latest position between the UK and Iceland on the matter of the deposits and the deposit scheme. Miss Thirsk received the briefing note from a different civil servant at the Treasury a week later and forwarded it to Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. 2 hours later, he passed the note on to Jonathan Boland, his close friend and former chief exec of Bank Haviland, a bank that bought assets from failed Icelandic lender a year earlier. So it's all happening, and it's all being shown to be the rumours are true.
Yeah. Another related story that I wanted to bring up was the fact that a story came out that Prince Andrew helped facilitate a meeting between Epstein and Colonel Gaddafi as well.
Oh my God! Yeah. I mean, I have to. By the way, you never saw Colonel Gaddafi and Shirley Bassey in the same room, did you? you never saw that. She's an old man. Okay, but I wanted to tell you this. So Britain won the skeleton in the end, didn't we?
Right. What is the skeleton? It's like a bobsleigh or something.
It's when you are
a tray.
You lie on the front on a tray. It's like mad, isn't it?
Basically, you have to be mentally ill to do it. However, I will say one thing. I thought that Ukrainian guy pulled a blinder with the helmet with all of the dead athletes on it. He was not going to medal anyway, and he has now got a better medal, which is now he's got the Order of Freedom of Ukraine, which is a way
present
better
Zelensky,
medal
yeah.
than the Winter Olympics bronze, which is the only thing he was getting close to. But actually, it was great the way that he used it to get all that publicity for dead athletes.
And it was actually invented by a posh Englishman, like from Eton, and it was at the Cresta Run, and it was done on trays, because you know how mad they were, you know, those posh, like, oh yeah, let's all get a tea tray and I'm going to roll. And this is how where it came from. All the winter sports were actually invented by English people. You know, we don't really get much snow anyway.
I'm convinced that every single one of those winter sports was started as a bet.
It was just, hey, come on, let's get the tea tray and race you to the bottom, Smithers.
The worst one is that brushing up game. Throw a stone and brush up in front of it.
Oh, they love that, don't they? Curling, weeping about their curling. Anyway,
I tell you what. Asher's girlfriend's into that. What he does is he goes, "I'll throw a stone in the kitchen, dear. You do the brushing up."
Sometime you curl one out during the show, don't you? 03444991000. It's Talk with Andre and Asher, and Kieran's with us. We'll be back after this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, this is a late show and indeed the press preview with Andre Walker, Asher Gould and Kieran Galpin. Kieran, how are you bearing up so far?
I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
Great. Okay, what else have we seen? We've seen this front page. We've seen this news. It's not on the front page actually. But we've seen this news story about Peter Morell. He is the ex-SNP chief executive. Might be in real trouble because the police have now said that he may or may not have embezzled £459,000. He bought lots of things, including the famous motorhome.
Which is parked outside Jimmy Cranky's mother's house, not the real Jimmy Cranky, the former SNP leader.
Well, the only time I can think of a motorhome issue was Derek Hatton, and that's about 1987.
Did he have a motorhome?
No, I think he had a horse box that someone had bought him. Very, very odd situation. It shows you how these small political parties actually quite often just have a few people and they're not run particularly well.
It's their own little thing, isn't it? Yeah, ex-SNP Chief Executive Pete Morell's facing allegation he embezzled $459,000 over 12 years. Details of accusations against the estranged husband of Jimmy Krankie have been revealed in a copy of the indictment. Nicola Sturgeon.
I mean, if he is guilty, we don't know that he is, £30,000 in cash, 600 quid a week. I mean, that is a significant amount of money. I mean,
especially in Scotland.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I think for most of us, if you literally had what is it, 12 £50 notes in your pocket every Monday, you'd be doing all right, wouldn't you?
And a motorhome as well.
Doing all right.
Oh well, it goes back to this fury with politics at the moment.
Well, people just think, but people just think
for everyone else. Yeah.
People just think it's low rent people in it for themselves.
Well,
unfortunately, that's what it is.
Yeah,
whether Peter Morell is found guilty or not, he's a low rent person in it for himself. We all know that for a fact.
Greg Wallace rakes in 20 grand a month by flogging personalised video messages and promises fans a 7-hour turnaround as disgraced former MasterChef star moves on from sacking. Greg Wallace is understood to be recouping his enormous BBC salary by sending personalised messages to fans after signing up to a video sharing website. It doesn't say whether he does it wearing a sock. Strategically. The former host earned an astonishing 400 grand a year at the Bee before losing his job over 45 upheld claims that he used inappropriate sexual language, humour and physical contact while working on the primetime show. Wallace, 61, has since joined Cameo. Oh, they were that band, weren't they? Word Up. It's a popular website that enables...
It's the one that Nigel Farage is on when he said up the Ra.
Yes, he did.
Which is not ideal. But now they've given up having a go at Nigel because he says anything, doesn't he?
Yeah.
For 75 quid a throw.
Well, Greg Wallace is better value at £40 a piece. What would you get Greg Wallace to leave a message? Give us a ring.
Let's get a Greg Wallace video next week.
Let's get one. We're going to get one. 03. What would you want us to get off him? 03444991000. You can leave us a WhatsApp message on what you'd like Greg Wallace to message to.
Asher Gould enjoys trumping and scratching when he gets home. That's what we'll do.
Were you a master chef? Are you a cook yourself? Do you do any cookery?
Very vaguely.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you mean what's your best dish? Beans on toast. What can you do?
Chicken and olive casserole.
Chicken and olive casserole.
I'm sure he said chicken Kiev in the break using the Russian, so he's probably where does the olive come into it?
What do you mean? Where's the olive?
Do you like olives?
So he didn't say it was chicken Kiev.
No, I don't know where that's come from.
He would deny it.
Just made it up.
Yeah,
just made it up.
Well, yeah,
no. Tell us about your chicken and olive casserole.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Just
one olive.
One big one.
A green one or a black one?
Either. Can be either.
Yeah. Equal opportunity olives.
Equal opportunity olives.
Do you like capers? I'm a fan of capers.
I like capers. Bit of rosemary. You know, plenty of oil. Chicken.
I don't really like olives because I believe them to be the cherry of the vegetable.
But it's not. But people go on about that food like that being quite difficult. I mean, you are talking about a jar of olives which would cost about £1 in Lidl.
Yeah, you know.
That's just why I said vaguely.
You're a bit elitist, aren't you, communist? You're like the best stuff, caviar and all that. What about being a man of the people? Beans on toast with HP, you can't beat that, can
God.
you? Give us a call with your midnight feast. What's your guilty pleasure with food?
I've got to be honest with you. I like beans, but not in that sugar sauce they put in. Do you know that
sugar sauce?
Well, that tomato sauce. Oh, it's disgusting.
You mean Heinz baked beans?
Heinz baked beans.
You mean Heinz baked beans?
Can't stand them. If you get the actual American Navy beans and cook them, they're so much nicer on their own.
I don't even know what those are. American Navy beans.
Yeah, that's what that's what they make beans.
What you talking about, Willis?
Pinto. I thought they were called Navy beans. Anyway,
you may be right.
Anyway, there you go.
Give us a call. What's your favourite bean?
Give us a call.
03. What's your favourite bean? Mine's the monk bean.
The problem is, if we ask people to phone us up about beans at midnight, you know what? Every joke is going to be the same. It's all going to be, oh, I had beans and they made me Trump. Oh, it's all just going to be the same joke.
Met Office warns of Arctic blasts with 4 inches of snow ice and -7 degrees Celsius freeze on the way, but says we may even see the sun tomorrow. The world's gone crazy.
He's deliberately read that. Met have warned of Arctic blast Oh God, have they?
4 inches of snow. Well, that's just about. We'll get that weatherman who hates you. Used to be in the Carry On films, Jim Dale. Yellow weather warnings.
Who do you reckon, of all the guests we've ever had, who do you reckon hates me the most?
It's probably all equal. Yellow weather warnings. My yellow weather warnings.
Always mention him again.
Never eat the yellow snow.
He's boring. Don't worry.
Have we had a break from our 40+ days of straight rain in this country? I'm not sure we have.
All right. I mean, it's a bit of rain. Just take your umbrella out. Anyway, it's only going to be places like Orkney, Shetland, Anglesey, so it doesn't really matter.
No, that's not true. There were places in the southwest, in Devon, Cornwall, that had seen straight rain. And Aberdeen hadn't seen sunlight in 2 weeks or something.
Yeah, but they're used to that, aren't they? Switzerland's migrant clampdown, how proportion of foreigners almost doubled to 27.4% in 40 years. This country considers capping population relation to 10 million. Switzerland is set to hold a dramatic referendum on whether to cap its population at 10 million as Alpine country sees its proportion of foreigners nearly double in 40 years. And obviously that has consequences.
Do you know how to become a Swiss citizen?
I am one.
Are you? Tell us how you become a Swiss citizen.
My grandmother is Swiss.
But how can we obtain no, I don't believe him. Do you believe him? He looks a bit Swiss.
So I'm interested by the stories. They said they're going to cap their population at 10 million. I'm not sure how this would apply to someone like me if I have my passport. Does that mean...
Have you got it ready to show us?
No, what they will very simply do. So, to be a Swiss citizen is quite hard, but you can get a foreign residency permit. What they will do is they will say... however many citizens there are, is say we've got 9 million citizens, we can have 1 million residency papers. Anything above that, we're not issuing them.
Right.
And they've done that before. Didn't they get rid of free movement? Didn't they have a referendum to abolish free movement from the EU?
Are they not even in the EU fully, are they?
No, but they had free movement before. They're in the European Economic Area. Well, they had a referendum either way on it. Maybe it was passed. But yeah, they'll just subtract. They'll just say the total number of people entitled to live in Switzerland, which will be the total number of citizens plus the total number of foreign residency permits. But in order to become a Swiss citizen, you have to have lived in, I mean, apart from if your family are, but as a naturalised citizen, you have to have lived there for at least 10 years. You have to prove you can speak Swiss German. And also, there is a referendum of your local village to decide if you're appropriate. And I had a friend of mine who, there was a very nice family in the village, one of whom wore a hijab. And leaflets went out saying, hijabs are not Swiss, vote no. And in fact, they did vote no in the referendum. There was somebody else in the village down the road who was a vegan, and apparently veganism is not a Swiss not a Swiss value, therefore...
Because of the cheese, yeah. Are you a big cheese fan?
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah.
I can imagine you shouting hurdy-gurdy.
Do you ever go to Switzerland? Did you go there?
Yeah.
Tell us about.
Yeah.
It's a very mysterious place. I mean, we know about the watches and the chocolate, but tell us Switzerland. What's going on in Switzerland?
It's incredibly beautiful.
Can you speak Swiss German?
No.
There's beautiful mountains, isn't it? Cows and that bloke with the horn.
Yeah.
Can you blow a big horn?
No. Beautiful lakes.
What's the population?
Not more than 10 million with the Swiss.
But they're all different sort of nationalities, aren't they? Do you speak Swiss German or Swiss?
No, so the east part is Swiss German and the west is Swiss French.
What's the capital?
And then you've got...
Quickly, come on.
Bern.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that.
And all my cousins have done military service as well. Which
have you done military?
No, I actually looked into doing it, but I was too old.
But they never get involved, do they?
When I got my citizenship.
No. They've literally got all of the mountains are hewn out, and they've got tanks parked in there.
They've got a very highly trained
and nuclear bunkers as well.
They've got enough weapons and tanks and whatever for every single man to serve in the. It's one of the world's biggest manufacturers.
What's the biggest industry of Switzerland?
Banking.
Yeah, you're probably right. I don't know.
Apparently, it's watches. It's watches. As you know, Rolex is actually a London company with a Swiss movement. You don't really know enough about Switzerland, I'm afraid.
No, I'm not particularly.
Have you heard that Rolex have got rid of all of their small retailers?
I did hear something about that.
They are getting rid of all the small jewellers. So in your local town, where you've got like a local jeweller who sells Rolex, they're all about to lose their licence because Rolex has bought up the biggest retailer of Rolex watches, which is called something like Boucherie or something.
A lot of the big companies, just like Nike did it, Adidas, they got rid of the retailers and just set up their own.
So it's now going to be highly. I mean, in most towns where you've got a Rolex dealer, that dealer is going to cease to be a Rolex dealer pretty soon. Anyway, on
You
which
can just head up and buy one anyway.
So, what was your favourite story of the week?
Yeah, man.
My favourite story of the week.
What about the Peppa Pig? They banned pork products at the theatre so kids wouldn't cry. We're not sure whether it was because of religious reasons or because people they didn't want to eat Peppa Pig and the kids would cry.
No, my favourite story of the week.
Grimsby.
This is a very obvious choice, but it was the Sir Jim Ratcliffe comments because I was sat on the phones as an
Did
AP,
you agree
as
with
an
what he
assistant
said?
producer,
Did you agree
and
with
I was sat and the phones were going crazy.
Did you agree?
I agreed with the sentiment of what he said. I wouldn't agree with the colonised language.
Why not?
Because I think colonise implies.
They're trying to subjugate and take over our culture and install their own.
But I think it also implies like a protectorate type thing, like a foreign government going in and installing a protectorate.
Well, it's our own government. We're actually being colonised by our own government.
On my YouTube channel, that's why I said colonists was wrong.
Yeah.
Because I think the connection to the home country has to be literally you are working for them.
Yeah.
And whilst there is a large number of, say, Somalians, Pakistanis, Eritreans, they're not literally acting for Pakistan.
No.
They're acting in their interests, but that's just a natural thing because they happen to be unassimilated.
But I agree with the concern about the shifting culture.
They're settlers, not colonists, in my view.
The Times, reform will divide the world, says Star Master Keir Starmer today claimed that Reform UK and the Greens are ideological extremists who would undermine Britain's national security and make war in Europe more likely. In his strongest attack to date on Labour's new electoral rivals, Prime Minister will use a speech in.
Well, that'll be worth 5 points up in the opinion polls for Reform, won't it?
Anyway, Kieran, you were brilliant. How do you think you did?
5 out of 10.
Yeah, I think maybe 5 or 6.
Maybe not that good, but you work up to it. No, only joking. It was brilliant.
Thank you so much. You're going to be a regular on this show now.
I'm very
Thank
keen.
you so much. We appreciate you.
Mark Dolan. Is Mark Dolan going to be next if you're listening in the morning?
He's not listening in the morning.
No, yeah. Mark Dolan, yes. Hi, Andre and Ash. How was your show? It was really good. What have you got on? I don't know, Ash, but it's going to be we're no way as good as yours. Anyway, thanks, Mark. We'll speak to you. We'll listen to you next. It's Talk with Andre and Ash back after the news. Thanks, Kieran.
Thank you very much.
across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Oh my God, this is a new segment that we are launching tonight. It is the Real X-Files with Joe Stock. Woo!
Taking stock on all the mystery and the mad stuff that's going on in the world. You know, we're gonna. He's been investigating all the mystery.
And Joe specially brought some flying saucer sweets along with him.
The best sweets of all.
Okay, right. Do us a favour. First of all, Joe, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well,
You're a bloke.
I'm a man, yes, a human.
Well, I mean, the eyes play tricks, don't they?
No, yeah, I'm just. I was worked at Talk. I've worked on your show for a while. I've appeared once before, but tonight I'm
Is
here.
this your second ever media appearance?
Yeah, I guess so. I
Okay.
guess so.
So I think he's doing well so far.
He's obsessed with the unknown and the mysterious.
Yeah, you're selling
This is
it
his
better.
actual passion. We shouldn't take the mic. What have you found out of the mysteries
Well, it's a
of the
big
world?
story. We are apparently in the year of
This is his art.
disclosure.
This is art.
So,
my art.
Don't mock it.
story.
Don't mock. Don't. It's my art. That's my art. You're laughing at. You're mocking. Sorry.
I know. I got that reference.
You did.
Can we play that later?
Supposedly on the 8th of July, President Trump is going to give an address to his citizens where he will explain that the United States government has, for a long period of time now, been working on off-world vehicles and has been in communication with non-human intelligence.
Well, we know about this in, what's it called, the place? Hangar 18,
Area 51.
Area 51.
Yeah, so
Hangar
this
18.
8th of July is the 79th anniversary of the Roswell incident,
Yeah.
which sort of brought this whole phenomenon into the mainstream. It did exist before then, but that was sort of...
So I originally thought, so Area 51 is an experimental aircraft development facility.
Yes.
So they're experimenting with things. So you're going to see weird stuff in the sky. Got all that. That's fine. And I always thought, well, people are seeing stuff that is so cutting edge that they don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I get that. Until you've got all of those pilots where they're seeing vehicles that are outperforming the best technology of the United States of America.
Manoeuvres that if a pilot was operating the vehicle, they would not survive.
Yeah.
But they've actually been in these. There are crashed UFOs that they have, and they do fly them around, obviously very carefully within that area. And I've heard people going, yes, I have seen them. They're very odd inside. You know, there's no straight lines anywhere, and you know, you're in this strange room. Everything is smaller. These beings are about 3 to 4 foot tall.
There are accounts of this. There's also accounts of taller beings. But what this speech allegedly, it's been broken by a ufologist called Mark Christopher Lee, which is an unusual name. But he claims that his source is working with the White House, the administration, on the best way to break this, because Donald Trump wants to be the disclosure president.
But why would
He promised that, didn't he?
Well, yes, he made a lot of promises.
So I'll tell you one thing that I think you need to do. You definitely need to be worried if there are crafts flying around the Earth that are outperforming the best technology in the United States of America. You need to work out who it is. First of all, you're going to assume it's China.
Yes.
Russia less so now, more the Soviet Union in its day. But then a lot of people are saying, well, it couldn't really be China because China just steals Western technology, and therefore, if it's so far outperforms American military vehicles, then you're going to have to ask yourself, where's it all come from? Yeah. And then when you say, well, it's come from outer space, well, you know, here is one of the big problems. Even the nearest planet, Mars, is a bloody long way away.
Well, it's interesting you're saying this because, again, this phenomenon really sort of went mainstream after the Second World War, and we've always sort of viewed it through a kind of post-war American lens of aliens from another planet in the cosmos. But actually, and according to sources inside the military, that whole view of it has shifted now, and it's less viewed that this non-human intelligence is extraterrestrial life forms from another planet, but could potentially be something else
living under the oceans. I mean, there was that place in San Diego just off the coast, and they're actually seeing structures underwater that now Google Earth has blocked out, and they were coming out of there. They're so advanced, they shut down the aircraft carrier. They can just come over a ship and shut it all down. Everything goes off the sensor. They're far more advanced beings. There's no way we could ever compete with them.
No, and this is actually, you brought up a really interesting thing there, because, you know, we have this perception once again of a UFO comes in from space, lands, takes off, goes off back to a mothership or whatever.
Yes.
But actually, when these things have been tracked by the military, more times than not, they seem to be coming in and out of the water.
Right.
Which kind of changes the.
Could they be our advanced, you know, evolved further? They you know, we've been around about 300,000 years.
Yeah.
They could be far more advanced humans that suddenly decided, well, we can do this now. We can go under the sea. We can just hide away.
One of the theories is of a kind of an ultra-terrestrial, a being that lives on the Earth, but we don't have any contact with it, but is more advanced.
Far more advanced.
And then there's obviously, and what's quite interesting is the reason some of these researchers and UFO enthusiasts say that we struggle to get any information about this stuff out for so many years is because there is a group within the Pentagon, a very conservative Catholic group, that view this phenomenon as being demonic. So they refuse to engage with it and want it to be left alone.
But my eyes and ears are sensors that detect waves, right? You know, if something is not on a wavelength that I can detect, it could walk straight past me and I wouldn't see it or hear it.
Yeah, and that is what some of these people that have come forward theorise could be going on there, that is what the technology is doing, that these things aren't from out in space, they sort of exist alongside us somehow. I mean,
there are many tribal groups do believe that there was some sort of master race that came along and, if you like, fostered human civilization.
Yes, there are lots
Explain
of
that, because I don't get that, and if you've studied it, then...
Well, I don't know about studied it, but I've got, you know, information on it. So essentially there is a belief, and actually from what I've understood as well, I'm not an expert in it, that actually it also kind of links into sort of Nazi occultism as well.
Yes.
There's a belief that a race of giants, gods or whatever, came down and bred with human beings.
The Anunnaki.
Yeah,
is that what they're called? I mean, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that the result was the perfect man, basically, and gave birth to this civilization. That's a kind of ancient aliens theory, which you know, lots of people these days. That's the thing, because we've got everyone's online now. Everyone will have their own opinions on this. As far as this speech is concerned,
I mean, my view is very simply this: there's absolutely no reason whatsoever why there are not other creatures on other planets, right? There's absolutely no reason. Don't have any problem with it. I think my issue is making it all the way to Earth and then not telling us. I also have a generic problem with we've known for 80 years but not told anyone. And you think, well, why wouldn't you tell anyone?
Well, supposedly there's been many attempts where they've brought experts together and given this question to them. We found out we have physical evidence of a superior race visiting us, and we've covered it up for so many years. Should we release this information to the public, disclose it? And all the time, these boards of people that have studied that question, hypothetically, of course, have always come back and said it would be a bad idea to do it.
Yeah.
Why?
We used to have Nick Pope on the show quite a lot. He was a regular, and we had Georgina Bruni, who wrote about the Rendlesham incident, Rendlesham Forest in this country, which is like the British Roswell, and her book was called "You Can't Tell the People," because she went up to Margaret Thatcher, and Margaret Thatcher looked at her and said, "You can't tell the people." Story, so they don't want to tell us.
But I mean, look, if I look at my own religion and I look at the Bible or whatever, the fact that there are other creatures coming from another planet or whatever doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't make any difference, because the Bible is very clearly the message to humans on Earth. The fact
he built the heavens and the earth.
I had this conversation with Ken from London yesterday, where I said, would it matter if God had created another universe? And he said, no, it's not in the Bible, but there's no prohibition on that.
No, but I think...
I'll tell you what my favourite thing is. Right. Muslim astronauts. But they have to pray east every day to Mecca. That is quite hard to do 5 times a day on the International Space Station. Apparently, what they're told to do is find out where Mecca is at the start of the prayers, and the fact that it won't be there by the end.
Well, let's have a look at some of these incidents. In 2004, USS Nimitz, there was an incident. In 2015,
that was the big one, wasn't it?
Although interestingly, that was already out there. That footage at the Pentagon, because all this has sort of been building up over the last 10 years. This guy called Lou Elizondo came out. He was running a program in the Pentagon which was researching all of this, and he came out and publicly said that he thought we were being visited by another. The
problem is, so where it becomes strange is these 2 aircraft carriers are tracking vehicles. What they believe to be vehicles that are outperforming anything possible that they know about by humanity. The critical point is, these are military officers. This is professional military tracking equipment, and they're going, what the hell is that?
Well, ex-Navy fighter pilot David Fravor told Congress in 2023 that he was diverted during a training mission off San Diego. They're always around military areas to investigate a UFO picked up on radar by US naval vessels. He described witnessing a white 40-foot craft with no discernible wings or propulsion system shaped like a tic-tac. He recounted how the object mimicked his aircraft movements before accelerating away at extraordinary speed. They don't really have, it seems, propulsion. They use some sort of some sort of magnetic something. They don't seem to be using energy to fly.
The claim is that they have a free energy that would solve all of our problems on Earth, but we can't crack the technology.
And they go through maybe wormholes. Sometimes they'll go from there and there, and there's no gap in between.
So just to make it easy, if gravity can bend time, the suggestion is it might be possible to fold time over, which becomes quite hard to conceptualise. But if you can fold time over, you can jump through a wormhole and go into a different time completely.
A guy that
folding time over is quite hard to get your head around.
Yeah, no, it's watch Interstellar. But a guy that supposedly worked at one of these spaces called Bob Lazar. He came out in the 80s.
Oh yeah, Bob Lazar. Yeah.
There's a lot of controversy around it, but in the years following, some of the things he said turned out to be true.
And they cancelled him. They denied that he'd ever worked there and stuff like that. And there's people who worked with him who said he did work
there. But what was interesting...
I just wouldn't be overly worried if somebody said that there is a race of beings living at the bottom of the ocean that have got very fast planes.
Well, the thing...
I don't know why...
Have you noticed that people, now that this has all come out, sort of, it's like almost fact now, people don't seem to really care.
Yeah, well, that's another interesting thing about it. We all seem to be...
But this is like the lockdown, isn't it? People are going to do this, people are going to do that. Most people are literally going to go, oh, there's aliens, that's quite interesting. Watch the first interview with their president, probably get Dimbleby, and then everyone's
exactly.
In
this country they're going, oh yeah, there's aliens, but I can't put my bloody heating on and I'm starving.
That's right. That's right. I mean? Do you want a pizza for tea, Liam? I mean, that's what it'll be, won't it? I mean, all of this, there'll be a breakdown in general law and order.
But it depends on what the aliens want. And also,
what do they want, John?
Oh, I don't know. But
you've studied it.
They are, by the fact they exist, if they exist, they are dangerous because they will have technology that is far more superior than ours.
Yeah, but if they wanted to do us over, they'd have done us over by now.
Well, we don't.
Do you think they're running this country? Do you think we're just like a little Tamagotchi, like a Sim City, and they're just having a laugh, going, "Look what these stupid humans," and we'll throw COVID into it because it's all going.
I don't know about that. Although, again, some people think that these are sort of demonic creatures, not. Aliens from another planet, and so that could link into some theories. There's actually something.
So you think that what is contacting the US military could be devils?
Well, I'm not saying that.
You're saying it's the devil, Joe. You flipped out, man.
That it could be anything, and there is definitely claims to be a group of people that seriously believe that is what's happening.
Well, I mean, it would be worrying. But it would be worrying if they were if it was Satan's worshippers.
If you want to go down that road, there is actually one thing that's quite interesting about this is that as I was saying, this stuff stretches back throughout time since we've sort of gained consciousness as man. We've always been drawing these godlike creatures.
That's right, the plains of Nazca.
Yeah, and you can look at old cave drawings and think that kind of looks like an alien. Is it an alien? Well,
Joe, so Joe Stock will be back next Friday. I want to thank you for that. I have to say, I think the phone lines are going to go crazy to this central idea that if there are UFOs, they are not coming from another planet. They are potentially demons sent from hell in order to corrupt our society. I'll tell you, there'll be people interested in that. OK, we've got two Christians coming on just after this, Grace and Ken, and I have to say, I think they'll have a lot to say about, certainly about the idea that Joe has raised, where Satan is sending his acolytes to come and communicate with the American government, because I have to say, certainly that's been a concern of Christians.
Look what you've done, Joe. Look what you've done.
That wasn't my intention, but...
So we'll be with Ken and Grace, and we got also, it's all about your calls next. David, Robert, Paul, Martin, Georgina, Keith and Boffu. Yes, that's right, Boffu. They'll all be back with us after this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
OK, well, you heard what was just said about potentially there being a major announcement that Satan is attempting to send his acolytes to influence Donald Trump. Let's hear it from Grace. What do you think?
It's theoretically possible, I suppose, but I don't think that it's necessary, because I think that Trump is very much influenced by Satan already. His views are entirely antithetical to what Jesus taught. His policies are entirely out of line with Jesus' commands to, for one thing, be humble and also to care about others.
Would Jesus have had open borders?
That's hard to say, because he didn't really comment on that kind of policy. I think that Jesus wouldn't have supported Trump's demonization of people from elsewhere, the way that Trump has not only tried to strengthen the borders, but he has repeatedly talked about whole racial groups, frankly, as though they were somehow all depraved or subhuman, and stoked people's fear and stoked racism in a way that's very un-Christ-like. I mean, the way that Trump boasts continually demonstrates a complete lack of recognition of...
But didn't Jesus show off a bit, you know, like when he turned the loaves into wine or fish or whatever?
No, it increased the number of loaves.
Into fish.
By the way, he managed to feed 5,000 with 4 loaves and fishes. I'll tell you what, that was like a birthday party at my grand's in 1985.
Must have been crap portions.
No, that was like a birthday party at my grand's house. There we go. How we got this much?
I heard a French philosopher recently who was talking about how science suggests that God exists, and there was a book about it last year that was released, and it made a lot of media headlines, called God, the Science, the Evidence.
Well, you can have God and science, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, well, when he was talking about this book in a interview I saw, he mentioned how it's interesting that quite a lot of people here in the West are happy to believe in aliens and not to believe in God.
But Grace, Grace, part of it is we consider it to be laughable that a physical demon would come and meet somebody, but it is certainly a huge part of the Christian faith, isn't it?
It's a big part, but I think the priority with Christianity is to turn to Christ. And there can be sometimes too much anxiety about demons when actually Jesus has the victory. We're not going to be defeated by demons if we choose to turn to Christ, because he is more powerful. And so we don't really need to be worrying massively about demons, because they're weak by comparison to God's power. And so if we get all anxious about weird supernatural goings on, we might be distracted from the very most important thing.
All right, Grace, thank you so much. Let's go to Ken in London. Ken, you're on talk.
Yeah, good morning, gentlemen. This is a very important issue. The Bible declares that Satan can appear as an angel of light. And when Jesus was here in his ministry, his main ministry, the Bible says Christ Jesus came into this world to save sinners, but part of his ministry was casting out demons.
How would we know that you're not a demon, Ken?
Well,
a demon would laugh at that question.
I'll tell you how I would answer that.
But Ken, before we go,
Ken is my Lord and Savior.
You would say that.
Ken, before we go any further, there are going to be people. So look, as far as I'm concerned, I'm here to debate ideas, and I'll debate any idea. So first of all, Joe Stock comes on and he says that there's these rumours that humans have met some sort of creature, and now he says no, they're coming from the deep rather than coming from other planets. Yeah. There are people who are going to say it's laughable, this central idea that demons are coming and visiting people on Earth in a physical form, but that's not ludicrous to you, is it?
Of course it's not. We can sense the presence of... When I go to these Palestinian support marches for Hamas, the presence of Satan is manifested strongly in every march. There's a manifestation of hatred and evil.
Well, you can feel it and see it in the faces.
Yes, you can see it in their expressions. You can hear it in their words. You can
it's not very hard to see how Hamas is the work of the devil, and also seducing stupid people in Britain.
And by the way, it's now up to about 50,000 people have been murdered by the Iranian authorities. No one's talking about that. No one's on the streets protesting about that.
But it is harder to believe that a physical demons come and visit people.
It's not hard to believe that. It's manifest everywhere. Demons have even impregnated the Christian church with false doctrines. The Bible talks about the doctrines of demons in the last days.
So when you talk about demons, Ken, I always thought about Jesus, Satan, God, whatever. Okay. But when I thought about angels and demons, I more thought about that being an inner battle within myself rather than these things being physical or conventionally physical.
Well, it is within yourself. There's all temptation to commit sin comes from the devil, comes from ourselves too. But when you look at Scripture, the Bible speaks about Jesus was tempted in the wilderness by Satan.
Yes,
was he?
Jesus himself showed us how the devil can be defeated by quoting him the Word of God and believing the Word of God. You know what I've called up to speak about tonight? About Mr. Farage and the Reform Party to do with Christianity. You see, what's happening here? If Mr. Farage and the Reform are genuine in their attempts to restore some form of Christian traditions to our nation, God will bless the Reform Party and Mr. Farage. But if they're trying to harness the Christian support for them for political or power reasons, they will just be the same as the Tory and the Labour Party.
Well, I'm not sure they are. I think that there is general recognition. So I've always said to you, Ken, that there are two things here. I think there are the cultural Christians, which I always think cultural Christianity is a step forward. And then there are real hardcore believers. I think there is a general acceptance now that to remove Christianity from Britain, from the United Kingdom government, from our schools, from our hospitals, from our civic society is madness. And I think there is an increasing view that even if you are not the biggest churchgoer in the world, you have to accept that this country cannot survive without bringing back its Christian traditions. And I think that is Farage's point.
Well, hopefully, I respect Mr. Farage and Andrew Reform. I'm going to vote for him in the next election, and I hope they get in. But I would just like to say to you, Andre and Ash, and all your listeners, in my opinion, and according to my life, I'm 80 now, according to my life, the greatest thing a person can do in this life is to sincerely believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. The Bible says, whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved from sin, from hell, from demons, you name it. There's power in the holy name of the crucified.
Okay, Ken.
Sounds like Samuel L. Jackson, doesn't
Ken,
it?
we're gonna leave it there. I've got to say, Jess says, "Oh, the demons are here, but they're not from the deep; they're from the political left." Kaboom!
Anyway, one of them's got to be right. You know, there's a whole smorgasbord in a religion.
Well,
it's like a raffle, and you take your bet.
But I'll tell you something. Having met a lot of these people, when you have these Hamas protests in London, I'll tell you what, the suggestion that they are evil, satanic, and the work of the devil.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't find it that hard to believe. I don't find it that hard to believe. And Ken has been to more protests probably than anyone of us.
Yeah, he loves them. 0344 499 1000. Get your calls in and get your WhatsApp messages in on that number if you're a bit scared. We're going to have Cindy on in a bit. And it's Valentine's Day, isn't it? So I'm sure she's going to have a bit of... Back after this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Okay, let's get straight on with the calls. Let's go to Yasmin, the teenage witch in Manchester.
Hi, darling.
Hello.
Hi.
I've loved that segment about UFOs because I've seen aliens, I've been abducted, and I've seen UFOs.
Go on. I think you said this last week, though, didn't you? Or yesterday?
Last night. What it is this. When you see... Look, before I saw one, I wasn't even interested in sci-fi or anything. Yeah. Then I saw it, and the first thing I thought was, I must be hallucinating. I must have took too much cocaine when I was younger, or marijuana, you know what I mean?
No, I don't know what you mean. No.
Well, I did. I took a lot. But anyway, I saw this thing in the sky and it looked like a diamond and it was spinning. And you know, like the desert has a heat source that rises from
Yes.
the land.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
The heat shimmering.
That's exactly what it looked
That's
like.
Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. That's you just saw a star.
It was in the daytime. It was.
Sometimes you see him in the daytime, don't you?
Now, listen, what we've decided to do, we've decided to bring Joe Stock back. He's just making himself up now. And
He's gonna tell you if you're
gonna
lying or
talk
not.
to you.
And the other thing is, it was metallic and it was like aluminium but metal. And I'm telling you,
Aluminium is metal.
Yeah, but you won't believe what I saw. And on the top, I saw beings waving to me.
What, like, just wave and go, hello? Why would they wave? What?
I also had missing time at the same time.
You dreamt this, though. You told us last night it was a dream.
No, that was another thing that happened later. I'm going to tell you, if you want to know about UFOs, get one of them million candlelight torches, go in your back garden and shine it 3 times and look
I've
at
got
the
one, yeah.
stars.
I know it's fiction. I know it's fiction, Yasmin. But have you ever seen the film Mysterious Skin, where abused kids, because they block out the trauma, actually think that they've been abducted by aliens? You said that you'd been.
I understand what you mean about false memory and everything. I know exactly what you're on about. But let me explain something. I've seen these things everywhere. And I'll tell you another thing and all. They're definitely moving amongst us, the aliens, because you know why? Their eyes go slitty, and I've seen that on one person, and I was so shocked I was rooted to the spot. Their eyes went like a lizard,
Right, hold on, Yasmin, because we've got a UFO. Joe's come back, the UFO expert, talks UFO expert, and he's going to test you and interview you to investigate whether you're telling the truth. Joe, away you go.
Well, start again, Yasmin. Tell me exactly when this started.
Right. The first time I ever saw one that I remember was in 1986.
Okay, not too far from Rendlesham that
I was
time.
I was going to the shop, and my husband come in from work, and he said to me, "You got shots for me." I'm saying, "No, you go." And then I thought, "No, I'll go. I'll get a Mars bar." So I went out.
Mars bar, interesting, like the planet Mars.
Anyway, I went outside, and basically, it was bright daylight. It was dusk time.
Galaxy.
And I saw this diamond-shaped metallic object that looked like it had heat coming off it.
Space Raiders.
Heat. But the key thing about this is
Monster
it was
Munch.
corroborated years later when somebody said they were looking over Radcliffe,
Starbar.
looking down in the valley, and they saw the same thing.
Starburst.
And I drew it in one room, he drew it in another. But let me tell you another thing. You know,
well, Yasmin, I would just say that that shape you described is often reported with UFO sightings.
I'm telling you, they've abducted me. They've done things to me. What can I do?
Have you got any scars from the alien abductions?
What is it they did during the abductions? What? Give us some of the details.
Medical tests.
Probing.
Probing.
Yeah, they always probe.
Probing. Well, what does probing mean? If you don't mind me asking, where was the probing?
Well, there's only 3 places, isn't there?
It was a metal thing. Are they metal? The probes normally metal, aren't
Put
they?
it this way, I remember lying on a metallic bed, and I remember coming out of that situation and being in pain later.
There's only about 3 places where you can be probed, isn't there, Joe?
Well, in the lady parts. But let me
This
tell
is
you
horrific, though, isn't it? What you're describing.
Well, I
is
don't know.
horrible.
Was it horrific, Yasmin?
I don't find it horrific.
Did you like it?
Well, I think I've been blessed to see them.
And what did they actually look like?
Good question. Good question.
Now, they look very small. I've seen different types, you see. So the ones that I saw looked very... They had one tall one and about 4 different little small ones. But they looked a bit like... how can I put it? Like animal eyes.
What, like a cat's eye?
Furry.
So perhaps...
To a cat's eyes. But let me tell you
Like the
something
lion
else.
in the...
You said earlier that UFOs started off in 1948. If you really look at it...
No, he said in Ancient Peoples also had it.
No, listen, in the 11th century in France, a UFO...
Listen, Yasmin, he said it in the ancient...
I did say that. I did say...
Just listen!
What I'm saying is, there's an actual documented case by the Catholic Church in the 11th century in France where a UFO went over a field, pulled people up through a light, and then dropped them down. Then the villagers with tools and pickaxes killed them all. And it's in the French...
What, the aliens had the pickaxes?
And also, on medieval paintings, there are pictures of UFOs in the background.
Yes, I've seen those paintings, Yasmin, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Listen, they're our ancestors.
Do you
That's
think
why.
there's a
Listen,
link
Joe,
to occult power and the UFO phenomenon?
No, you've opened up a whole hornet's nest now.
Well, in Germany, they did look into that because Hitler was very...
Oh, I knew Hitler would get involved somehow.
Anyway, look, thanks, Yasmin. Let's go to Cindy in Michigan. She's an American, so she's probably all about aliens. I'm sure she sees them every day. Cindy.
Now we've got Hitler.
Hey, yeah, before Stephen Hawking died...
Joe's with us, by the way.
He warned against coming to talk...
Was he real, though? There's rumours now that he was just... Someone was talking through a remote control
come on,
microphone.
right. No, I'm sorry. If you were to invent a human, it wouldn't be as dysfunctional as Stephen Hawking.
No, but because he can't say anything back. He just sits there and everyone thinks he's really wise, and there's a bloke saying... The stars are all right. And it's just, and we believe him, don't we?
None of it works.
It's so over.
Stephen, stop, everyone. Stephen Hawking was to humanity what a Skoda was to... You remember the old Skodas?
He had an affair, didn't he?
He didn't have an affair. He did not have an affair. I can't...
Epstein Island, wasn't he?
He was on the island.
He left his wife.
I can't believe that. Come over here, darling, you sexy beast. Get your knickers off. I can't believe that.
There's someone out there for everyone.
Andre,
No, there is Valentine's Day.
You guys are being way too funny. I'm trying to be scary, so you're kind of ruining it for me.
Okay, sorry, go.
Okay, let's be scary together, okay? It's really interesting. Let's be scary. Okay, so Stephen Hawking said he often warned against coming into contact with aliens. And also, I believe that evil can manifest in many different ways. And my dad is to tell you the truth, a lot like Ken, but my dad's older. My dad's in his early 80s.
So is Ken. Ken's about 80. Ken's about 80.
Oh, really? Okay.
He's in very good shape.
Well, he tells me that Jesus is coming and to get ready.
And when is Jesus going to arrive?
What's the time scale? How'd you get ready? How'd you get ready, Cindy?
By repenting.
He wants me to get right with Christ.
Well, that's going to be difficult for you, isn't it? With your,
No,
You used to do those video things, didn't you? Those naughty video calls.
Have you ever seen the UFO, Cindy?
Else knows about those but us.
Jesus will. Yeah, have you ever seen, good question, Joe, have you ever seen UFOs? Because you're American and most Americans have.
You know what? I had a scary experience. I
went on Plank of the Week.
I was bringing a friend over to my house, right? So we're coming into my house, and it's nobody else is there. We're all alone.
Yeah.
And we go into my bedroom and we sit down.
Yeah.
And right when we sit down, we hear I swear this, the ugliest, most evil laugh.
Was it like that?
But it was like a witchy.
It's like a night out with Paul Ross.
Worse. It was.
Can you give us a little impression of what it sounded like? That is terrifying. Joe.
That one there.
Definitely demonic. Definitely demonic.
Right?
Sounds like a furball sort of thing.
And all me and my friend did. My friend looked at me and he said, "Don't give it energy. Just keep talking."
And this was in your house that you live in now?
He said, "Don't." Who lives in my house that lived in there? Well, my parents.
Do they still live in there? Do they?
Yeah, my parents have lived in the same house.
So
since
it's basically
1972.
that sounds like a poltergeist.
Oh yeah, and my dad, if anything, I believe that there would be a poltergeist.
Are they aliens, Joe?
Believe me.
Poltergeist?
My dad was crazy back in the 70s and the 80s.
Everyone was crazy back in the 70s.
Oh no, but he was.
It was LSD, largely, wasn't it?
He was. I mean, but that laugh was so creepy. Me and my friend were just like, don't acknowledge it. Just don't. Oh, it was.
So what did you do? Did you run away?
No, we just froze. We looked at each other, and my friend said, "Don't acknowledge it."
And then you just carried on with your evening.
To acknowledge it. It's like carry on up the Khyber.
What?
It's like carry on.
They don't know about the Carry On. Have you never watched the Carry On film? It's all about British culture.
I had a friend.
Haven't you guys ever had like a scary experience?
I had a friend of mine who got invited to Stringfellows, and he didn't know it was a strip club. And this guy went, "Bring a woman with you." So he brought the wife of the last viceroy of Egypt, right? She was about 80. And he said, suddenly I became aware of this woman, and she took her bra off. And then they all started dancing naked on the table and said, "What did you do?" He said, "We pretended we hadn't noticed." I mean, just, what the hell? Like this 85-year-old old bag there with the one with the knickers off in her face. Anyway, that was my...
And on that bombshell, Cindy, we better take a little breaky. 03444991000. Thanks to Joe there. If you've got any alien questions, you know, Joe's here, our UFO expert at Talk. But it's Andre Nash at Virtual Ash at
Andre JP Walker.
And we'll be back after this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
So we want to thank Mr. Stock for his stuff on UFOs. Next time he needs to bring Aitken and Waterman with him because that completes the trio. Without him, Stock on his own without Aitken and Waterman is just not going to happen. But anyway, thank you so much. Let's go to Gary in Glasgow. Gary, you're on Talk.
Hello, boys. Listen, I've always wanted to have a conversation about this. It's nigh on impossible for there to be aliens to come to Earth. It's just not possible for many reasons. One is the distance.
Yeah, but they wouldn't. But you're thinking in human terms. They can cross distance like that through realms of physics.
But people say these things, Ash, because they want to give answers. But physics is physics. No matter where you are in the universe, physics is physics.
Yeah, but they could have worked out different ways, like things called wormholes.
Yeah, but you see,
look at quantum physics. Quantum physics says anything can be.
But hang on, but Gary, you make a good
argument. I'm going to lose this argument, but the issue is
you've already lost it.
No, but Gary.
Okay, fine.
But Gary,
that was easy.
To be fair to what Joe Stock said, there is a suggestion they're not coming from other planets.
Yeah, but come on, let's be sensible and logic about this, okay? I've always looked at this, and one of the things that's always stuck in my mind, it's always one or two people. There's approximately 7 billion people on this earth. There's never 500,000 people see an alien all at once. They're always from a distance.
But why wouldn't there be life forms in the whole? There's billions of planets.
I didn't say there wasn't, Ash. I never said there wasn't.
I'll tell you what makes me...
You said it was impossible for them to visit us.
No. Yes. Mainly because of the distance.
Yeah, but you're saying you're basing it on our physics now. You know, they just said television wouldn't have been possible 1,000 years ago, or talking on the phone around the world.
Ash, you're trying to give answers. You're trying to give answers to logical answers. Okay. The thing is that it's light year. It's millions of light years.
Yeah, but you're saying we know everything about physics now. That's a bit arrogant, isn't it, to say we know everything?
You lot said about wormholes. Okay, wormholes are millions of miles away. You talk about bending time. About bending space and time. The energy that would need just to even contemplate thinking about the energy that it would need. Fuel.
They were thinking in human terms. They're not going to fill up with 4-star, are they, and just drive their UFO along?
That's the problem. That's the issue, Ash. Everybody talks about aliens, but nobody has really...
We've seen military film footage from planes, from pilots. The most qualified people have seen it.
Yes. And people lie, Ash. People lie. Well, and it's always from a distance.
But
you can tell when people are lying. You can tell when people are lying.
Ash. There's 7 billion people in this world, okay? And I've never seen an alien.
Yeah, but lots of people have seen them. When you speak to people, they have seen them.
But what proof have you got? You've only got their proof that they said it, okay? It's just like the Loch Ness Monster. We all know that picture was fake.
What about those people? What about those people?
There is a monster there,
there's no argument with that. See, I don't need... Go on. I'm getting a bit frustrated.
It's a dinosaur, isn't it, in Loch Ness? It's a lost dinosaur. Going wondering where are all the other dinosaurs.
If you think about the distance, if you think about how people have to, how they have to do.
Yeah, but we used to think Australia would take months. Now we can get there within a day.
You're also presuming that if they come here, they're exactly going to be like us. They're going to breathe like us.
They're little with grey and funny eyes.
Listen, Ash, it's fine. I've got no problems with people having this.
But why do you refuse to believe it? It sounds like you have a closed mind. You don't want to believe it.
No, I don't, Ash. I've sat and I thought about this for donkeys. And it's not that I don't want to think about it. I have to think logical. You have to think logical, Ash.
But logically, there would be aliens. I mean, there would be other life forms far more advanced and know how to travel, through time and space and with different energies.
Ash, I never said there wasn't, Ash. But space is so huge. I mean, you can talk about stars, I don't know, 2 million light years away.
Yeah, but what about transportation? They're already saying here there's a theory that we can do transportation, like in Star Trek. Well, if they've already got that, you can just get there in a second.
It's not... No, you can't, Ash. It's not...
But that's transportation. The physics have been proven. Teleportation.
It's not possible. Look, to get to Mars... For argument's sake, we're talking about muscular nerve say we'll get to Mars. It would take at least 7 months to travel to Mars.
Not if you're an alien. Just press the button.
7 months there, 7 months back, and whatever period of time. So that's like 14, 15, 18 months or whatever it takes, yeah. And all that, you have to have the energy, the fuel, the food, the water.
Chins of beans. I mean, you're thinking in human terms, that's the thing. Anyway, look, give us a ring next week when Joe will take stock of it. He's our UFO resident. All right, let's quickly go to Mark in London, and then we're going to talk to Ben Fletcher about his extravaganza at 1 o'clock on talkSPORT and talkTV. Mark.
Hi.
Yeah, man.
How are you?
We're all right, man. What's up?
Good.
Well, it's very late. You're calling us at 10 to 1. What are you calling it? We could have been asleep or anything.
You could have been. Yeah, no, I could have been asleep. I should be asleep. Yeah. But no, it says in Genesis about aliens, but it calls them the Watchers, and it tells you that they descended from the heavens down to the earth, and it also tells you that they bred with with human women.
Watchers.
And the watchers. That's
What do they look
I
like,
call
your watchers?
I'd imagine. Well, this is what the offspring of the watchers was called the Nephilim.
Ah, the Nephilim, yes, the Nephilim, yes.
Which are the giants.
That's right, yeah. So what, like Andre the Giant, people like that?
Well, a lot of the stories from history, past history, like David and Goliath.
David and Goliath, yeah.
Gilgamesh, all of these giants from back in history.
That's a club in Camden, isn't it? Gilgamesh.
Yeah, it is actually, yeah. But
it's a big club, actually. Very high ceilings.
Yeah, probably old, is it? Edwardian?
Yeah.
Probably.
Thanks, Mark. Right, so anyway, after us, it's going to be Ben Fletcher on Talk Sport and Talk to. So what's on the show, man, that isn't sport, before we go into what's the sport?
Good morning, gents. Well, it's Valentine's Day, isn't it?
That's right.
Oh, yes.
So I'm extremely grumpy about that. I think Valentine's Day, let's be absolutely clear, I don't know many blokes who like Valentine's Day.
No. And also the going out where there's loads of other couples. It's very sickening.
Oh, yeah, it is, isn't it?
It's sickly.
Does your mum or your wife's mum give your kids Valentine's cards?
No.
Do you give migrants? Do you send migrants Valentine's cards?
I don't send my wife a Valentine's card,
No.
so...
Is she... Because I had a foreign girlfriend and she goes, no, you don't have to bother, we don't bother with all that. And I was like, you're back in the net.
Happy days. That is an absolute touch, isn't it? I think a lot
She
of
wasn't a legal migrant.
I think a lot of it is to do with how successful you were with the ladies at school and university or whatever in your youth. And I wasn't particularly. So whenever I think of Valentine's Day, I think of school discos.
Think of not getting a card.
I think of not getting cards. Not.
Have you? Okay, I'm going to come out with this straight away.
Go on.
Apart from mucking about at primary school, I've never received an anonymous Valentine's card at all.
Not?
Ever. Have you?
I received an anonymous one.
Once?
It ended up being, off the top of my head, a couple of times maybe.
Did you not guess who it was?
I did. And it ended up being my mate's sister. I took her for a date, but
mind you, to be fair, at an all-boys school, it wouldn't have gone down that well if the Valentine's cards were going round.
All gone down very well.
I think.
So you're talking about Valentine's Day?
Well, no, probably not. But it is Valentine's Day, isn't it? It's FA Cup weekend on the TalkSport Network. It's all about.
That's right.
All about magic.
We've got Villa playing Newcastle.
Yeah, we got that live somewhere on the TalkSport Network, I'm sure. Talk will be carrying some commentaries as well.
Oh, lashings of them.
Which will be pretty good. So lots of magic to look forward to this weekend. Do you know what Noel Gallagher said during the week? You know, Noel Gallagher's up for a Brit Award for songwriting. Yeah. He said we've not written a song in however many years, and he's getting an award for songwriting. And all the new musicians are kicking off saying, well, hang on a minute, how can he be getting an award for songwriting when he hasn't written a song for 2 years?
Is it a long, what do they call it, an industry award?
No, it's not. I think it's probably a way. It's a way of getting him to the Brits, because at the end of the month they're in Manchester, aren't they?
And they want him to perform on the show.
Yeah, so they've got to give him like an award. It's like when Donald Trump got the FIFA Peace Award.
Would you like to go and see the Oasis lads?
Would I go and see them? I think I would do, but not.
Have you ever seen them?
I haven't seen Oasis. I've just booked my first gig of 2026, actually.
Who is it?
I'm going to Chic and Nile Rodgers.
What is that?
Oh, yeah. Well, Chic, Nile Rodgers.
What is that?
Yeah, what do you mean, what is that?
Freak out. Chic.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But it wasn't Chic.
What is that?
He was Chic anyway.
Yeah, he was
They
Chic.
just added, because it's just to make it clear for people like Andre who might not know.
When Andre's not heard of either.
So you were Chic. Do you have some disco moves?
Absolutely.
Incredible.
So we're doing the usual. We give away, we play games all through the morning. So there is the 1 Second Wonder, which is a guess the intro quiz.
That's like a night with me.
Which is like Tom O'Connor's Name That Tune, but a more updated version.
Yeah, so it's a love special this morning. So give us a call on 03717223304 if you'd like to play it about 2:15. We give away a book, Carry On Aging is the name of that quiz, guess the age, and we'll give away a book that we found in amongst the TalkSport lockers. Yeah, and there's plenty of those around.
It's interesting because actually some quite good authors send us books, don't they?
Absolutely, and sometimes we'll get them on. But it's the ones that don't make it on when you sort of see these books piled up around the TalkSport office.
Oh, it's sad, isn't it?
I love that. But Virgin have got loads of vinyl. So I'm
Do you
thinking,
still get vinyl? Because, I mean, I used to get sent loads of vinyl, but now when you're on the list, you just get MP3 sent.
Well, that's a shame, isn't it? It's not quite the same.
It's not the same.
We'll be having that conversation with Emma and Sinead, Emma Kerr and Sinead Garvan, TalkSport, Talk and Virgin Radio Showbiz Royalty, about Noel Gallagher's comments this week. And I think it's difficult, isn't it? Because he was very lucky, or fortuitous would be the better word, to be able to produce music in an era where we had hard media, like your vinyl CDs.
Yeah.
So
You
people
make
actually
all the
went
money.
out. Yeah, you went to Woolies, you bought your singles.
Yeah.
And now MP3s, the amount of streaming that new bands have got to achieve to make any sort of money is very, very difficult.
And he made all the money because, of course, he wrote the songs. Liam just sang them. So, you know, Noel's a multi-millionaire and Liam's got a few. Well, he's done all right from these gigs. I remember he came on the show. He came on the Sports Bar, Noel.
Yeah.
And at the time they said, "Will you know get our aces together again?" He went, "Oh, Norway, 10 million each or whatever." And he's got a lot more than that.
A hell of a lot more.
A lot more.
But they're touring again this year, aren't they?
Are they?
Yeah.
Well, why? I mean, and they had that ticket surge pricing like Uber, didn't they? So it would change price on the phone.
I was calling it the Felicity Wants a Pony tour. Which is basically, oh my God, Felicity Wants a Pony. It seemed like the right time to get back together.
Yeah.
You're broke. That's what he
But
said.
he was a great guy. I mean, Noel Gallagher was a real down-to-earth guy. I remember when I was chatting to him and he was like, "Oh, yeah, I just met Paul Weller." And he was like all starstruck. And I was thinking, well, you're a much bigger rock star than, you know, Paul Weller ever. Maybe in the Jam, okay, but at that time...
That's a good debate, actually, because I would argue the opposite. I mean, Paul Weller being from my hometown of Woking, you know, founded the Jam Star.
Who else is from your hometown of Woking?
Who else is from my hometown of Woking?
People.
I can tell you that Penelope Keith had the keys to the borough.
That's good.
Peter Gabriel lived there for a little bit when he wrote Sledgehammer. Harry Hill lived there for a little while.
I like Harry Hill.
Late great comedian Sean Locke also lived there for a while. I'm from there, but obviously nowhere near. I'm still aspiring to
you might get onto the Wikipedia now. You're on top.
Delia Smith's from there. Sean Locke. Yeah. Author H.G. Wells.
Yeah, so War of the Worlds starts in Horsell Common. They land in Horsell Common.
Wow.